website for hours. Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
It's not just boughs of holly that are going to deck your halls this holiday season. It's you decking the whole house with outdoor lights and holiday decor from the Home Depot. Fill your yard with Yuletide treasure like a hand-painted LED reindeer sculpture. Want to build a snowman? You can, with our 6-foot sparkling snowman covered in lights. You can even pair it with a Disney inflatable Sven. You know, from the movie your kids still watch 3 times a day. 'Tis the season to make things jolly, and the Home Depot has everything you need to make the holidays yours. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Chiefs fans, this is the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show, presented by the Missouri Lottery. Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery and CBD American Shaman. Life is better with a feather.
I gotta be honest, I think tonight's postgame show is gonna be a bit of a weird one. There might be a good answer for this, but I'm not sure when the last Chiefs victory that felt sort of like, if not a loss, maybe a tie would have been. But tonight's kind of in that range. Now look, let me be perfectly clear. If the Chiefs would have actually lost this game, tonight's show would not have simply been weird. It would have been weeping, gnashing of teeth, fires just spontaneously combusting around Kansas City. The Chiefs needed to win this football game to, in a very practical sense, stay alive in the AFC West, in the playoff push, for a wild card spot. They needed just the simple W. Now, Eric Bieniemy will talk to us this week, and he'll be asked about how the offense performed today, and he'll say he doesn't really care about the numbers, he cares about the alphabets. It's the W's and the L's, and they got the W here. And that's true. And that's great. And also, if you are a Chiefs fan currently within the sound of my voice, you can't feel awesome, right? Like, I want to try to split the margins on this one, because I don't want to be a downer right after a victory, because again, the most important thing here was to win. But there was some talk about, the Giants might be the get right game that this team needs, where everything just looks easy again, right? And that is not what happened tonight. That is not what it was. The Chiefs tonight did not have the unquestionable performance of an offense that got its bleep together right before the Packers got to town. And they haven't ended up being, some sort of disaster that totally just saw their playoff hopes completely disappear. Somewhere in the middle. And you can live with that. But you probably don't feel ecstatic, which I'm sure you would have loved to have felt. And the season's not over, which is great. SB Nation just tweeted this out. Good news, the Chiefs are finally 500. The bad news, this is who they've defeated. The 4-4 Browns, the 3-5 Eagles, the 2-6 Washington football team, and the 2-6 Giants. And again, if you're listening right now, you probably know me to some extent. I'm not here to tell you that this wasn't good or fun or something to be glad about. But also, the Packers are coming on extra days rests to end up facing this team, with the Chiefs being on one fewer day of rest than they would usually get. And that game is probably a better measuring stick for what it'll be, come Super Bowl time. The Chiefs needed this game, and they barely took it from a pretty bad football team. But also, they could have lost this game and the season could have ended. It's not a misery, but it also was not the type of performance that would totally rejuvenate your faith in what they're capable of being, right? I don't feel like I'm off base with any of that. I don't feel like I'm being overly pessimistic or overly optimistic, frankly. as of right now, I'm not holding my breath for Chiefs-Packers. Or if I am holding my breath, it's more out of fear than anything. And also, I still sort of feel like I'm going to be the very last person to say or believe that the Chiefs would not be a playoff team. Which I would totally understand if you're like, well, I don't think they will be, so take that. I think that's totally reasonable. I've just watched Patrick Mahomes play too much football to think that he is not going to be able to drag the weaker parts of this team to where they need to be. But also, I've watched every game of this season. And there have been plenty of instances of that happening. So I think the Chiefs stay really strange and really interesting. And certainly, like, in the picture. But they also just don't look that good. It's a difficult place. We'll spend a good chunk of time talking about it here tonight on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. My name is Joshua Brisco. Beards McFly and Rudy Salazar are producing the effort. It's all brought to you by Missouri Lottery and CBD American Shaman. We'll hear from Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid at some point. I bet we get Willie Gay. Well, he just talked, actually, so I don't know. He obviously had the interception that was a huge play defensively, so maybe we get Willie Gay. Although, again, I think did he speak on Saturday this week? Not been a long time since he's been on the podium, but maybe he'll have some more to say about the game tonight. And, who else will we see? Will we hear from? Don't know yet. Tyreek Hill had a nice game. Maybe we get Derrick Gore at the podium. Certainly looked good in his effort out of the backfield. Darrell Williams and Derrick Gore are perfectly competent at winning against light boxes and running a little more power stuff. We've talked about that for the last couple of weeks. Seth Kaiser had a great piece on that spawned a lot of conversation about, when does it make sense for the Chiefs to run the ball more? But they did a pretty good job of that tonight, although it was a little bit touch and go. There were, 2 drives or something where it felt like everything was kind of working as it was supposed to be, and the rest of the game, the offense still had a ton of its usual, what a weird thing to say, but a ton of its usual issues, the issues that have become sort of normal despite being totally uncharacteristic for the past versions of this team that we've seen. Also, I know we'll hear from Patrick Mahomes on the ESPN telecast momentarily. I know Rudy was getting that. Do we have that ready to go, Beards? Or you look like a man who has no idea what I'm talking about.
Waiting on Rudy to save it. He's doing other stuff right now.
Okay. So we'll hear from Patrick Mahomes immediately post-game with his feet still on the field, and then we'll hear a bunch of press conferences live over the course of the rest of the show, and we'll also get Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest in here at some point. Try to get him in before it's significantly past his bedtime. And we'll also take some of your calls before too long, especially for a home game. I would imagine the Chiefs will be at the podium a little more quickly than they have been some recent pasts. But we'll take some calls as well. In the meantime, I'll tell you a little bit about Missouri Lottery. Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. More play, more power. Powerball now on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. And also, we got a better result this week for this promotion from CBD American Shaman, so I'm going to get it to you right off the top of the show. When Kansas City scores, you score big at your local CBD American Shaman. Kansas City score is your % off. They scored 20 points tonight, so you get 20% off all day tomorrow. CBD American Shaman, life is better with the feather, and it's better to take those 20 points than the 3 they put up last week. And this is some of the things about this that I don't know, I continue to I don't know if I'm waffling on it or if I'm just exactly where I'm supposed to be because of this team's strengths and weaknesses. The offense was better tonight than it was against the Titans. The defense was better tonight than it was against the Titans. You still also, though, get a back-breaking play from Dan Sorensen, and you get an offense that put up 20 points against a defense that is not very good. What does this teach you? What did you learn about the Chiefs tonight? And I was perfectly prepared for the Chiefs offense to put up 30 again tonight, and then to have to talk myself out of picking them against the Packers because, larger sample size of the team this year. I didn't want to be overwhelmed by whatever they put on tape against the Giants, hoping it would be good news. But 20-17, again, to use the phrase that I used earlier that other people had mentioned over the last week here, it wasn't a get-right game. What I was hoping to see, just even if it's from a momentum standpoint, even if it's just from a mental standpoint, I was hoping that we would be able to see the Chiefs look comfortable, make some of these things look easy, and it definitely wasn't tonight. And not that every game needs to look that way, to be clear. I'm sure we'll hear from Mahomes or Andy Reid at some point. It wasn't easy, but it wasn't pretty, but it doesn't need to be, whatever. Fine. That's fine. I get it. Not every win is easy. Not every win should be easy. Football is hard. But with the pure constipation that this offense had last week, going up against the 2-5 Giants, I kind of hoped that it might just look like 2019 or 2020 even, just for a second. Especially with how bonkers the AFC has been. Yesterday, you just got all sorts of results that make you go, what? Are you sure? Is that what happened? And I really wanted to be having to fight the optimism tonight. And this was, a business trip victory that you say, well, just take it and move on the next week and start getting ready for the Packers. I'm just worried about next week and the Packers. That's where I've ended up. But obviously, again, it's a victory they had to have. Losing this game would have been a nightmare. Would have been an absolute nightmare. So they very literally did what they had to do and very little else. I'll be curious once we start getting through some of the calls how this game makes you feel. Because wins should make you feel good, and a loss here would have been a nightmare. But ultimately, I don't really think I feel better about the Chiefs right now than I did a week ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, whatever. I also don't think I feel any worse. I don't think that struggling offensively against the Giants to the tune of 20 points feels any worse than struggling to get into the Titans to the tune of 3 with all of their secondary injuries. I don't think Travis Kelsey is going to develop a fumbling problem. I wish Patrick Mahomes would stop having interceptions bounce off of his pass catchers. That I don't enjoy. I also don't know if that's a pattern yet. It's definitely a pattern. I don't know if it's something that we should be predicting. I don't know, man. But here's what the mayor of Kansas City just tweeted. I'm going to the mayor for my sports takes from here on out. Quentin Lucas tweeted, the G-Men ain't good, line break, but a win is a win. And I think that's about as far as you can go right now. The Chiefs beat a team that's going to have a top 10 pick in all likelihood. And they barely beat that team. And it is a step up for where they're at. I think that's interesting. We got on Mahomes from the ESPN sidelines. Excellent. Let's hear the quarterback of the Chiefs with his first words to ESPN immediately after securing the victory over the Giants.
Patrick, a win is a win.
Yeah.
But after talking to you guys this weekend, I get a sense that you expected it to be, or you wanted it to be, more convincing. How fair is it to say that?
Yeah, I don't know if it necessarily say convincing, but you just want to be executing at a higher level. I thought our defense did a hell of a job all game long of stepping up and making a lot of big-time stops. But offensively, we're getting a lot of yards, doing a lot of things, but we got to keep executing, keep getting better at that. You told us that what you wanted to work on was actually going through your reads better, not anticipating where the ball was going to go. How do you think you did with that tonight? I thought I did a good job. They played a lot of deep zones, played some man coverage here and there, and the guys battled. I thought the O-line did a great job kind of keeping me clean in the pocket, and I did a better job than I did obviously last week. Andy Reid told me at halftime he thought the offense was up and down. How did it feel to you tonight? Yeah, it's kind of like the microcosm of the whole entire year. We have great moments and we have bad moments. So, if we want to be who we want to be, we got to get better, execute better for a full game. But again, a win is a win. So how do you build on this? You're now 500. How do you build on this and move forward to be the team you want to be? Yeah, we're going to have a challenge this next week. We're playing the Packers. They're coming here. They got a great football team, so we're going to have to go back in there, practice on a short week, and really figure out what we got to do to be better, to play better next week against a great football team. Thank you, Patrick. Congrats on the win. Thank you.
Patrick Mahomes is smart and like level-headed and can be honest when he's not doing, quarterback speak or whatever. To say in there is kind of a microcosm of what our whole season has been to this point, I think is exactly right. Super fair. A win is a win. The win counted. Excellent. But there were some pretty good moments. There were a couple of terrible moments, and overall there was just sort of a game. They just kind of played a game tonight. And that is what it is. Like, that's it. What that's going to translate to is probably going to be a really unfun Packers game if it looks like it did today. And if they improve from here, great. Let's hear from Derrick Gore as well, courtesy of Westwood One, the Chiefs running back in his first game making with a significant amount of work, really made a good dent in the Giants defense, put up a good performance. Let's hear from Derrick Gore.
I know you guys needed this win in the worst of ways.
Man, it was just, we went out there and executed at the end, but we definitely did need this win.
Hey, Derrick, how much are you guys talking about the run game? I know this has been a high-flying, passing team over the last couple years, but with some of the struggles, has it become more of a focal point to run the football this year?
No, not really. We just, when our number is called, just be ready. We got a lot of backs with us right now, so we just run it back by committee. So whoever is in, we just cheer them on and let's get it.
Now, I know you weren't here the last couple years as they were going to Super Bowls, but as we watch from up top, it just seems to be more of a struggle this year. Is there any talk in the locker room or from the coaches about things that you guys need to clean up on, or why there's been more struggles this year, and what needs to change for you guys to truly get back on track?
It's really just taking care of the football, honestly, getting stops when we need it, but really just cleaning up on small things, playing with details, stuff like that. But tonight, I think it wasn't pretty, but we definitely got it done.
So, Derrick, coming into tonight, you did not have a carry for this team. Your career's been a couple years in the NFL, bouncing around, but maybe you've found a home here. This is a huge win. I'm curious to see if you sense any kind of panic, any kind of frustration with the team that won 14 games last year, but has struggled just to get to 4-4 after the win tonight.
Not really, being mad about it, but, just going out every day knowing you're going to get everybody's best. So we just got to lay it out every Sunday or Monday night, and have our best foot forward.
There's Derrick Gore, 11 carries for 48 yards. That's 4.4 yards per carry, and that touchdown. A very similar stat line to Darrell Williams, who was 13 for 49 for 3.8. No score for Darrell, though, so Derrick gets the Westwood One interview nod there. He initially went to Alabama, but then ended up at Louisiana Monroe for the 2017-2018 seasons, where he got a lot more work than he was getting at Bama. His first NFL carries with the Chiefs, his first NFL carries, period, in a regular season game coming tonight. I'll give you a quick Derrick Gore story if you want something to feel good about here on that front. I was up there on day 2 of training camp in St. Joe, and it was just rookies and quarterbacks and then some injured veterans reporting. And Derrick Gore was the only running back on the roster for those 2 days. And if memory serves, and I'm pretty sure it does, quarterback Anthony Gordon ended up taking a few reps through some walkthroughs and some drills and stuff at the running back position because Derrick Gore was the only guy out there, and they had to find a way to eventually get him a breather. He had a nice moment in Arrowhead in the preseason as well. And it just, was there from the very beginning. He's not a rookie in the, out of college last year sense, but whatever the cutoff was for experience, he was, I believe, safely under to end up in camp this year with the rookies. And he's just been grinding since the very first couple days in St. Joe, makes the practice squad whenever they have cut downs. Darwin Thompson goes to Tampa Bay. Clyde Edwards-Helaire gets injured. Jerick McKinnon hasn't gotten much work, and now Derrick Gore, I think, is a legitimate part of this offense right now. And, it also continues to go to show that you can plug and play any of these super talented running backs that show up that commit to Alabama, ended up at Louisiana Monroe, and then are back on an NFL roster a few years later, getting touchdowns in prime time. it's a very cool part of the fact that running backs do continue to sort of be swapped in and out pretty seamlessly across most of the league, maybe a couple exceptions. We'll see what the Titans look like without Derrick Henry or whatever. But a great night for Derrick Gore, and a cool story there. And what was overall a difficult night for the Chiefs, but not nearly the catastrophe that it, I guess, nearly was. I guess not nearly is unfair, but it wasn't the catastrophe that it could have been. The Chiefs are back at 500. There's still a lot of football to go, but I'm also not completely sure which version of the Chiefs we're going to see for the rest of this season. We will begin to hear from the pressers. We hopefully will begin to take some of your calls, and we'll continue to talk about where the Chiefs go from here whenever we come back after this quick break on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show.
You're listening to exclusive post-game coverage on Kansas City's home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810 WHB. Presented by the Missouri Lottery and CBD American Shaman.
Looking for a place to host your corporate wellness needs, happy hour, or birthday party? Home Field is your place. They are conveniently located in Olathe, KCMO, and soon in KCK. Home Field has state-of-the-art facilities for youth and adults. Your company could work together, play kickball, dodgeball, cornhole, or any turf sport. And Home Field can accommodate food and adult beverages as well. Facility space and time is running low, so call today or inquire through their website, homefieldkc.com. Home Field is your home court advantage.
Hi, I'm Fred Ramsey. And I'm Mark Tobin. Hey, folks, if you're not busy Saturday mornings from 6 to 7 a.m., well, I hope you'll join us for the Midwest Outdoors, brought to you by Reid Chevrolet, St. Joe.
Join us and our expert guests, and we'll be talking about hunting and fishing, dog training. We'll give you tips, pass along stories, and most important, share some laughs along the way.
That's right. We cover it all, from crappie to waterfowl, and we'll tell you how to cook it, too.
The Midwest Outdoors, brought to you by Reid Chevrolet, Saturday morning, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Let me tell you about my other favorite Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from KC, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Grab a Pick 6 from one of 9 area locations and tailgate at Andy's. Grab one today.
He was a key contributor to the great teams of the 1990s.
Timmy is one of the greatest Chiefs ever to wear that uniform.
Great job, Grunny. You've deserved this for a long time. So happy you've made the Chiefs Hall of Fame.
Our very own Tim Grunhard will be inducted Monday night into the Chiefs Hall of Fame.
Even after retirement, you've made Kansas City your home. Congrats, buddy.
Congratulations from all of us at Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Let me tell you about my other favorite Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from KC, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Grab a Pick 6 from one of 9 area locations and tailgate at Andy's. Grab one today. Make your holidays even better with a trip to watch Kansas City take on Denver. The Missouri Lottery, Hy-Vee, and Sports Radio 810 WHB want to send you and a guest to Denver to watch Kansas City take on the Broncos. Visit a participating Hy-Vee grocery and gas location through October for your chance to register. Purchase a $2 Missouri Lottery Powerball ticket for your chance to win. Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. And go Chiefs!
Crucial staffing has been a vital component to the battle against COVID-19 nationwide. Their operation all starts in Kansas City, and they're committed to being a healthcare staffing and emergency management company that can handle nearly any staffing need with speed and quality. Crucial Staffing has the nation's largest volume of deployable clinical and non-clinical staff of reservists, who you can learn about by visiting crucialstaffing.com/contact or calling 888-222-6359. Explore more about the Crucial Crew today.
Hey guys, it's Grunny here for my friends at CBD American Shaman. Man, I love football and I love big scores. When Kansas City scores, you score big at your local CBD American Shaman stores the day after the game. If Kansas City puts up 30, it's 30% off all the next day at your local CBD American Shaman store. If they put up 50, you got it, 50% off all the very next day. Now that's a big win. CBD American Shaman. Life is so much better with the feather. It's Tim Grunhard, a.k.a. Mr. Truck KC. People are talking about the low inventory of cars in this nation. The best solution is to go see my team at Roberts Robinson Chevrolet Buick GMC. They have over 60 new and used vehicles ready to go off the lot today. If you're needing a car for the future, go see them and pre-order now so they can guarantee that delivery. Come see why customers say, we just make it easy from sales to service. Check them out online at robertsrobinson.com or view their Roberts Robinson Facebook page.
First and goal at the Giant 3. Mahomes under center. 3 tight end snap. Spin. Gore got a block. Stutter steps. Cuts to the left. Cuts to the near side. Crosses the goal line. Touchdown, Kansas City. Derrick Gore with a touchdown run on that play of 3. The Chiefs have taken the lead. 6.5 to play in the second quarter, and they do it on the ground.
I'm going to make that our Andy Reid call of the game, brought to you by Olathe Subaru, because handing the ball off to Derrick Gore was working on that drive. It worked all the way down into the end zone, and that's a good call. So it's the Andy Reid call of the game, presented by Subaru Olathe. At Subaru of Olathe, they put you in the driver's seat. Shop their huge selection of vehicles your way, hassle-free, online, anytime at SubaruofOlathe.com. Beard, shake me off like a good catcher on this one if you need to, but I think we have time to take a few phone calls before we eventually get to the podium live from Arrowhead Stadium. And Gary was first up in line. Gary, I know that this game, and I looked over at the phones, and I knew that this game was going to feel sort of like a loss to some people, and I knew it especially when I saw you got in for the first line. Appreciate your consistency, Gary. What's on your mind?
Well, after watching that game tonight, I think the first touchdown, you can give credit to number 49 and 56. At least they took turns on separate downs, allowing the plays. And then you had the touchdown to Ingram, which Dan Sorensen was, well, let's just say he's a stiff out there on the field because he has no athletic ability whatsoever. And if you're looking for where Aaron Rodgers is going with the ball this Sunday, just follow 49 and 56 because he'll use them, abuse them. He'll probably put up about 450s on Sunday. Aaron Jones will probably run for $1. I just don't see this getting any better. And, you know, Travis Kelsey, he looks like he is lost. I mean, if you watch this, when they show him on the sidelines, he looks like he is dazed. I mean, his eyes, you just look at him, he looks like he is dazed and confused. And, you know, this team is so fundamentally unsound. They are not the brightest guys in the world, and we can see that with the penalties, continuous week in and week out. These guys are not the brightest. And, you know, that comes back from your coaching staff. Whereas, you know, if this was New England, you think Belichick would be sitting there putting up with this? And I tell you what, if you want to make an example, you've got 2 guys on 1-year deals in 49 and 56 that you could cut tomorrow and not lose anything. You plug Dorian O'Daniel in there, let that kid play because he couldn't be as bad. And also, I want to know if Spuds will stick with that zone Sunday against Aaron Rodgers with as effective as the pass rush is. And let's not forget the last 2 teams we played have been depleted. The Giants were depleted on the offensive side of the ball, and they moved the ball at will. And the Titans were depleted on the defensive side of the ball, and they shut it down. And, you know, and you look at Mahomes, that was a very quiet whatever he put up. And I think the last I saw he was at 235. But, you know, when your longest pass play is on a screen, you've got issues offensively. And on that pass that was intercepted, that was on Mahomes. That was just bad. That was not an accurate throw to Josh Gordon there. And, you know, at some point, this team just needs to admit, you know, we're not the smartest guys in the world, and we're watching the games. So they don't – and I want to hear somebody ask – and I'm going to start calling him Spuds because he's a potato head. But somebody needs to ask Spuds because 56 and 49 played quite a bit tonight, and they're going to play quite a bit on Sunday, I'm sure, because they're going to play a lot of nickel and dime. Like I said, Brady's just going to pick – Rodgers will just pick whatever numbers he wants to put up on Sunday because – and how many turnovers are we going to have on Sunday? Like I said, Kelsey looks like he's lost in the weeds. Mahomes, and I hate to say it, can we say regression? Is he a true spread quarterback who can't play at the pro level? I mean, we've seen the offense, but can he play in a pro-style offense? Not something that's got to have all the principles of the spread. Can he play in an NFL offense? I'll hang up and listen. Great show.
Appreciate it, Gary. I felt like I was a little bit kind of touch and go on is Kelsey lost because I'm not sure. I think he's probably frustrated. I think he's probably had his head pretty well beat in by defenses these last few weeks. And I wasn't really like I don't know how many of these penalties I would say are like mental mistakes. And then you asked if Patrick Mahomes could play quarterback at the NFL level in a traditional NFL offense. And I think he lost me on that one. Gary makes a lot of good points most of the time. Just usually it's sandwiched in between a couple of things that I don't necessarily agree with. It's the Gary experience, you know? It's a microcosm of the season, right? Obviously, we're in a weird time for Patrick Mahomes. I kind of think that if you're going to do like NFL, like traditional NFL offense stuff, which by the way, no one really runs a traditional NFL offense. So I wouldn't sweat that. But if you're in that headspace, tonight would be one of the games that I think you could actually point to as him doing that pretty patiently and pretty well. You're right. The offense, again, it feels constipated. Like it seems like something's not quite right because everything has been short and dink and dunk and a bunch of things behind the line of scrimmage, like 2 passes. I think it might have been more than that ultimately. At one point, there was 1 or 2 passes that had even been attempted beyond 10 yards. It was pretty early on. But, I mean, you've got all these different various questions you can definitely, reasonably, fairly ask about the offense and even about Mahomes. I think that is a leap too far. A couple other quick things. Everything being short, obvious. The interception, I mean, it hit Jerick McKinnon in the helmet. Whenever we hear from Mahomes, I'm wondering if someone will ask who he was targeting because it looked like it was going to Gordon because there was another defender behind Gordon in front of McKinnon. But Mahomes was throwing it around the rushing defender, and then it ends up hitting McKinnon. I'm not sure who it was at. It wasn't a great throw. It wasn't a great situation. That's all obviously true. I want to talk about the pass rush later on, but also on Dan Sorensen here and how much he's going to play. I don't know. Louis Riddick late in the broadcast was basically just dissecting. It was on that touchdown. Was just dissecting Dan Sorensen for not playing smart. And whenever playing smart, knowing the playbook and being a veteran and all of that is the thing that your meal ticket is attached to, it is really, really hard football to watch. If Willie Gay makes a play that isn't necessarily playing smart, but is him trying to make something happen because of his athleticism, I can live with that. In the years where Sorensen has not been the most athletic guy on the field, but has been stopping and reading a fake punt, plays like that, reading a quarterback to go pick off a ball. Despite the lack of athleticism, you're happy to see him on the field whenever he's athletic enough and playing smart. But you can't be not smart and not athletic. You cannot be getting beaten mentally if that is your best trait, essentially. And, I mean, we've seen I don't have the snap counts yet. I don't think anyone has the snap counts yet. I'll be very curious to see ultimately how much Neiman and Sorensen did play. It did seem like they were coming onto the field on third downs a lot, and Bolton... At least at one point, Bolton and Gay came off the field for Neiman for a third down situation that had to be dime, I would have to guess, just based on the fact there's only the one linebacker there. Presumably, would have been 5 defensive backs, 4 pass rushers, Neiman, and somebody else. Maybe it was 6 defensive backs at that point. I guess that would be Nichols. So it would have had to be dime with 6, I think. I'm remembering a specific play because I was telling Beards. I was like, wait a second. All the linebackers are off the field. Who's there? It was Neiman, presumably 6 defensive backs and 4 pass rushers. That doesn't need to be happening. Put Willie Gay out there. And again, Nick Bolton, for all of his strengths, is a liability in coverage right now. Fine. Let that be Willie Gay. Leave Bolton and Gay out there. Whenever Anthony Hitchens comes back, still not on the IR, by the way, so presumably they think it'll be soon. I don't know that he has shown that he has earned his playing time. Also, Gary mentioned Dorian O'Daniel. I've been waiting to see Dorian O'Daniel play more football for so long now. It just never happened. Beards, do we know who's up next, or we're just sort of waiting? Sorry, I hate to keep people on hold whenever I don't know what's coming next. Because in this Choose Your Own Adventure game that is the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show here on Sports Radio 810 WHB Kansas City. You're welcome, Beards. Here in this Choose Your Own Adventure, there's one path that's like we could take calls for 10 or 15 straight minutes. There's another path that is all the press conferences are about to start. And I'm afraid that if I'm going to choose a path and then have to put a caller back on hold because, Derrick Gore is at the podium or something. But Beards is instructing me to give it a shot. If I end up throwing anybody off, I'll put you back on hold and we'll pick you back up if something ends up happening. We'll give it a shot. Travis, I hope you understand. And what's on your mind?
Hey man, I appreciate the getting me on here. I'm gonna be honest. I'm 100% gonna be that guy. I feel worse after tonight than I did before the game. I was really hoping. I mean, the defense sucks. We all know it does. It played good tonight. I mean, for what it is. I was really wanting the offense to look like you brought up. I thought a good word, comfortable. They just look off. Everything looks wrong. Everything about them looks wrong. I was at the game. Actually, I'm sitting in my car waiting to get out. Mahomes looks awful, I think, and I can't. It's like he's forgotten how to read a defense. I don't understand why he has regressed, and maybe it's not him. I called Petro last week, I believe, last week I think, and brought up a question. You know, is it possible that Andy Reid's just not long for this league anymore? And I know that sounds sacrilegious, but is it possible that the rest of the league has caught up and he's just behind? And his schemes and his plays and his thought process on how to play offensive football no longer meshes with the game today. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what other reason there could be for this offense to look so bad. Yeah. I mean, it was bad tonight. And I just want to say one last thing. I know you probably got to go, but you know, everybody's been talking, and myself included, quit running RPOs, check down. They checked down tonight, and they still suck. Mm-hmm. So what's the answer? You know, what? And I, to be honest, like, yeah, they won tonight. I honestly almost wish they wouldn't have, because it's just going to be a long, drawn-out death the rest of the season. If they play like this, they're going to get beat by 30 next Sunday against Green Bay if they play like this. It's not good. This win doesn't matter if this offense does not fix what is the problem. And
Travis, I
hate to be negative.
No, it's okay.
But that's all I got.
I think that's where a lot of people are at, probably in that same parking lot. Appreciate you listening. Appreciate the call. A couple of things there. So one, I do think that you can look at this offense and say, hey, what is wrong? Like, I'll keep going back to the word comfortable. I wish they looked comfortable against a defense they should have looked comfortable against. The one thing, and you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to shoehorn in. Yikes. Beers was answering a phone. Was that dumpable? Probably. That's probably fine. I'm going to shoehorn in my favorite, move to go back and not even just second guess, because I was guessing it before it even happened. But did you hear the thing that I said that would have been not dumpable, but would have been worth reconsidering? Did you even hear it, or were you taking that call? I was using the word shoehorn, and the last letter just fell off. Don't know what happened there, but, apologies. But I'll shoehorn in my favorite move to go back and revisit. How different would this offense look with Michael Pittman on it? And for tonight's version of it, you wouldn't even have to take anyone off. He went 34. T. Higgins went 33. The Chiefs took Clyde Edwards-Helaire 32. Thought a wide receiver would have been a much better investment with that pick. And I'm shoehorning in Michael Pittman because he's had a nice season, had a good game yesterday, and has just had some wonderful highlight plays that are exciting and fun to watch. And I mention him as the specific for the larger, more general question of how different would this offense look with a third pass catcher that meant something. Byron Pringle and Demarcus Robinson and McCole Hardman and I guess Josh Gordon, although I've yet to see it, are all guys that will probably have a catch just about every game. They can make a nice play. They can get open. You can get good performances out of them. But they had at least one moment tonight where they showed on the broadcast that Kelsey and Hill were demanding all of the attention, and everyone else was just manned up, one-on-one. Nobody got any separation. Now, look, again, I don't think Mahomes has forgotten to read defense or anything. And I think that some of the dink and dunk stuff, while it was working, all obviously frustrating, totally understand that. Dink and dunk football is the bane of my existence on most of the time. But if you were to offer me one thing to add to this team, just like a very good player at any one position, I'd be tempted by pass rusher. But I think there's a chance that we get better Frank Clark as the year goes along. As he talked about this last week with his hamstring injuries being an issue still. And I think that we get a chance of seeing a dominant Frank Clark or dominant Chris Jones once again. I don't know if there's a third receiver, a third pass catcher on this team that has another step to take. McCole Hardman is good in his role, his specific role. But I don't know that he can consistently beat one-on-one coverage. I think if he could, we would have seen it happen more often, and the Chiefs lean on it more. Let's take another call here. Let's go to JP. JP, what's on your mind?
Josh, how you doing, bud?
Doing pretty good.
You asked earlier how we feel as far as this team goes. I think that tonight is an example. I mean, I think that this is the team. I think this is our team going forward. I think we all would agree that our defense isn't good. Our offensive line, I don't think, is doing their job. I like our kicker.
Yeah, he's done his job this year.
Punter's not doing too bad, and Tyreek, well, hell, he showed up.
Yep.
But you're absolutely right. The receivers aren't open; they're not getting any separation. I just think that this administration, from the beginning of this year coming into it, did not have these coaches ready. These coaches didn't have these players ready. This team was not ready, and I think that this team is just ultimately it's a bad football team. I think we're going to lose, like Travis said earlier, by 30 points to Green Bay. And I hate to say it, but to all the fans, I think we just need to chalk this season up. And I love Patrick Mahomes.
Sure.
I mean, I still think that he's probably one of the best quarterbacks in the league, if not the best quarterbacks. But tonight he looked like a bad rookie.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but and I'll listen to you out there. But I appreciate you taking my call.
Absolutely, JP. Thank you for listening, and thank you for waiting to sound off on that. I'm going to be curious to look at this game a second time and also to see where Seth's eyes go in the film review for Mahomes. My guess is that he's going to find that Mahomes probably played a pretty decent game tonight, but it's not the version of the game that any of us are used to seeing. It's not Patrick Mahomes football. He had I think it was Todd Lebo, our very own, who tweeted out that the Chiefs were celebrating the return of Alex Smith tonight with an Alex Smith-style victory. And that's kind of how it felt. Where it wasn't really fun, it wasn't easy, but you got there, and listen, the off chance that Alex Smith is in a car somewhere right now getting slandered on the radio, especially the last year of Alex Smith wins were more fun than this one was. That loss to the Giants was slightly less fun than even this game against the Giants was, but that's not the point. It was very much take the safer dink and duck stuff, but it sounds like Chris Jones is at the podium. Let's go live to Arrowhead.
We're way up top. We can't really feel what you guys are feeling down there on the field. Have there been low moments tonight? Did you guys feel like it was going to be hard to dig out of this thing? And what was it like to finally break through at the end and get those sacks to kind of put the thing away?
I don't feel like it was a low moment. I felt like it was going to be a challenge the whole game. We kind of knew that going into this week. We kind of knew that it's a marathon in this league. No win is given to you. So we got to take that approach on. It's a battle. Every drive, every play, you got to execute at a high level in order to get the best out of your opponent. So,
Chris, early in the game, you had Patrick Mahomes throw an interception, and Willie Gay comes right around and makes a big interception as well. How big was that for you guys to get over that? Oh, here we go again with another interception. We got the guy on the field, but Gay comes up with a big play.
Well, we never look at it like that. I mean, Patrick has done so much good for this team, and great players make bad decisions sometimes. You know what I mean? I don't think Pat initially tried to throw an interception. It's just a bad play. And as a defense, we look at that as like a challenge because whether y'all want to say it or not, y'all little brother is all the damn time. The second little brother who's just there. And we take that as a challenge. Let's go out, step up, get the offense the ball back. We let the offense know that we're going to get you the ball back. And Willie Gay came up and made a big play.
What's it like for the defense to, hold a team to 10 points in the first half and then 17 points overall, where normally, fans will see that, the defense is struggling. If you all have been playing well, especially second half of the ball game the last 2 weeks, and you put 4 quarters together today. On top of that, 12 penalties, 108 yards. How do you clean it up by next Sunday?
We got to stop beating ourselves. I had 2 penalties myself, a holding and offsides. Those are mental mistakes that I can correct. I think we kind of correct those mental mistakes on our behalf. We can kind of eliminate a lot of the big plays, the big drives that teams are able to push downfield on us. And, those are self-inflicted wounds right there. So we can fix that. Those are fixable things.
Chris, we know you kind of came up with Sack Nation, and it's been a struggle for you guys as a unit to get there. How sweet is
We told Spags it was going to happen. You know, there's so many plays and so many schemes are ran throughout the game, and usually around the fourth quarter, 4 or 5 minutes to go, Spags send a 4-man pass rush, and we're able to dial up some stuff and unleash the guys up front. You know, we got a lot of great guys up front that can rush the passer. Frank Clark, Jaron Reid. We got Alex Okafor and Mike Dana, who is leading this team in sacks. So we got guys that can rush the quarterback. We just, you know, once we unleash, we're able to get there.
Chris, you feel more comfortable going back to the inside right now, or do you still prefer being out on the edge?
Well, particularly I've been on the inside on passing downs and been on the outside on base or rundowns. That's typically been a thing this whole year. It's just us getting teams to passing downs and being able to get nickel or dime on the field to where I can get inside, you know. So, you know, I think that's more so of a defensive thing. But, you know, I feel like I can be dominant inside and out.
Just a couple of weeks ago, Coach Reid has told us that you were dealing with, obviously, a wrist injury, and he said it was probably a distraction for you. Where do you think you are now with that? Is the Chris Jones we usually see now effectively here?
Well, I ended up tearing some ligaments in my wrist, and I tried to play through it. And I don't make no excuses for myself. I tried to play through it and realized that I couldn't play my full potential while playing through it. So I thought it was best to take a couple weeks off to let it heal. And thankfully, the team agreed. We came to agreement, and I feel a lot better now. I'm able to do some things that I wasn't able to do when it initially happened, and I feel good. I feel great to be back on the field, man, with my brothers.
Chris, do you feel like you're 100%? Do you feel like you're back to 100%?
I want to say 100%. I don't think I'll be 100% this season. You know, that's a long, brutal season. Every game you get a nick or a neck. So I'm good enough to play to my best ability, and anytime I'm able to do that, I can be a problem.
Is it safe to say Sac Nation is back?
I don't think we ever left. You know, like I was telling my teammates, it's a marathon. It's a long season. You know, we still got another half a season to go. Yeah. We can be the best half a season that you guys ever seen. You know, the 4 losses that we had, this was tough. But now we take it one game at a time. Address it like that, take that approach, especially within practice and a week of preparation, and we can build off of it.
So the last 3 goes in.
Chris, we're not in the locker room anymore. Can you give us a sense for, do you feel like it's the same mood in the locker room as the past couple of years?
Of course. I feel like everyone has the winning mentality. I feel like everyone has a sense of urgency that we know what we have in the building. We know how much talent we have around and what we're capable of achieving with this team. We just got to pull it together. You know, a few errors. You look at the Baltimore Ravens game. We was marching down, about to score. Fumble happened. That's a mistake we can fix. And a lot of these games are simple mistakes that we can fix. We just got to eliminate penalties and mistakes. And once we do that, I think we'll be the team that we know we all can be.
Chris, a couple answers ago, you said a little brother. Can you expand what you mean by that? Is that like the offense gets more attention? Or?
Yeah, y'all know the offense get more attention. Come on, let's not act like that's the elephant in the room, okay? We know the offense. You know, when you have a high caliber guys like Pat Mahomes, MVP of the league, you got one of the best receivers, you know, in the league. You got one of the best tight ends in the league. You know, y'all guys are not going to talk about us. We don't score touchdowns, okay? You know, offensive guys, they do the dance. They get in touchdown, boom, boom. People go crazy, you know. So, y'all talk about us these last few weeks. I've seen the comments. It's okay, you know. I don't really say no. I don't engage on Twitter, but I see, you know, it's okay. I'm a big guy. I can handle it.
That's the last thing I wanted to ask about. Last week, there was some of your teammates in the defensive room engaging on Instagram and stuff like that. Did you guys have a conversation as a team about that? And just kind of your thoughts about trying to not look at those things when you're trying to get your job done?
We didn't have a conversation about it, but I look at it as like this. You know, a lot of people on social media say a lot of disrespectful stuff to players, not understanding that we're human too, and we don't go out there trying to make mistakes or not play to our best ability. And I think fans get carried away sometimes because they be so engaged and they be so used to us winning and dominating all the time. And sometimes they get carried away. And just like a normal person have feelings. Just because we're athletes, we have feelings too. And sometimes it get a little bit over the top. And, you know, some things are taken out of proportion. And we got a lot of emotional players, you know, that give their heart out on this field. And I don't think we try to lose the game either. You know what I mean? So I think there's a little bit of both. And I think both parties get it. You know, Tyrann made an apology this week. And he's an emotional guy. He's our leader. And we understand where he's coming from. I don't think he initially meant like the Chiefs fan base is what he said. I think he talking out of a little anger, which he said. So I just say, man, the fans got to be condescending on how they talk to players. You know, I don't normally engage on social media because I feel like the average Joe can't get me out of my element. It won't make or break me. But I just be condescending on, you know, how you talk to us. You know, we treat you guys with respect. We just ask for the same thing. It's not like we try not to go out and not give our all every week for you guys. So, and we appreciate you guys dearly. I love the KC. I love the Kingdom. I love the fans. And we're going to turn this thing around.
Good stuff there from Chris Jones. We'll talk about some of it here in just a second. First, though, I need to let you know how this locker room report got to your ears.
The Chiefs Locker Room Report is brought to you by Twin Peaks. No one does football like Twin Peaks. Whatever your preference, they have everything from tequila cocktails and an extensive bourbon category to top shelf spirits and cocktails served over ice balls. Local craft beers and handcrafted whiskey cocktails round out an adventurous drink menu, second to none. And don't forget about their 29-degree man-sized drafts at Twin Peaks.
We'll get to Willie Gay here in just a second, live from Arrowhead. But a few interesting things there from Chris Jones. I thought his talk there at the end about all of the various social media things was all very well grounded. Let's hear from Willie Gay Jr. Got a pick today and a nice performance from the Chiefs defense.
Fit in the Chiefs colors, so we good. Yeah, man, I got all kind of hats.
Well, it seems like you're becoming more comfortable in coverage, but this is what we saw in training camp before that. Can you describe how much different it feels now that you've seen it in game action?
Man, like I was saying back then, man, just doing your job. You know, once you do your job, plays come to you. And it was something as simple as just working through the passing lanes and quarterback staring down the route, and he just threw it right to me, you know. And when you do your job, that's what happens. So.
Were you upset that you didn't make it to the end zone?
Yeah, I should have just ran him over. I should. But it's all good. It's all good.
I know you never want a teammate to be injured, but you started next to Nick Bolton a couple of games now. What have you seen from him? What's that partnership been like? He led the team in tackles again this week. So what are you seeing that kind of partnership?
Man, like I was telling the other guys, man, Nick, as a rookie, he's just so good, man. And I was telling him, like, shoot, man, this time last year when I was a rookie, I couldn't even do half of what he's doing. So, man, I love playing with him, love watching him play. You know, he's smart. He can get us lined up. He gets everybody lined up, you know, and we help each other out as linebackers. And just meet, like when him and Ben was on the field tonight, we did our jobs, and we all three played pretty good, you know. So we just got to keep doing that, man, and that room can keep getting better each and every week.
I know we won't probably talk to you this week, but knowing you got the Green Bay Packers coming in, I know they played national television last week. Did you get a chance to watch them, and then what kind of challenge do you think that they pose to the defense?
I mean, of course, they're a good team. You know, they won without like 3 of their starters, I think, on offense. But nothing crazy, man. We just got to do our job. You know, can't give up crazy deep balls, can't jump offside, just stuff that you know, just the basic football 101. You know, just can't hurt yourself and can't like let them just take the top off of the defense. Just do your job and you'll be all right. So.
What kind of momentum do you think you guys can gain from the play, especially early on, holding them 17 points, and really finishing off where the other teams have scored a game-winning drive?
I feel like defense played pretty good, man, so we just got to carry it over, continue to learn and fix the mistakes that we did make. You take away a deep ball and a check down and went for like 30, 40, you know, and, you know, you take that away, man, we're doing pretty good. So we just carry that over into next week and just build on it.
You watched, obviously, this team when you were out, and the defense was kind of struggling a bit against the run. What do you feel like has been different, the last few weeks, with you being in there?
I don't really know what to tell you on that. I ain't gonna lie to you. You know, some weeks you can do it, some weeks you can't. You know, every team just every week just gonna be a little different. You know, it's nothing really different with the scheme. just maybe this week a guy stuffed the hole a little bit more than he did the last week, so we just got to keep doing that, stacking every week.
Willie, I saw you at the end of the game, interacting with fans on the bench and stuff. Can you talk to us about what it's like to play at home in front of the fans and in front of
Oh, it's special, man. Since I was in high school, I feel like when you can interact with the fans and get them involved in the game, I feel like it's special because they bring the energy to the game, and without them, man, like last year was hard, A guy like me, I like to be juiced up, so without the fans, but to have the fans involved in the game like that and to be juiced up the whole game, fourth quarter, it's big.
Can you take us through what you saw on that third play where the quarterback keeps it?
Yeah, man, I did my job and I blitzed. I didn't get through, so I overlapped and saw he was carrying the ball out, and I was like, okay, so I seen him try to turn it up the field, and I just made a tackle, dog, and it was perfect timing, perfect play, so.
Willie, last month, right before you got active, you had sent a tweet out about you love everybody, but your mental health was kind of having a hard time, and you retweeted a few things from like Lane Johnson and stuff like that. I just want to know how you're doing with that, and what message you have for fans in that regard.
I'm doing pretty good, man. Every day it's not going to be easy, but I'll have probably 3 good days in a row. Then next week on Monday, I'll probably have the worst day ever, So it's a journey, Just got to keep my head up and keep pushing forward. Just take it one day at a time, man. I'm doing a lot better than I was then. I can tell you that for sure. I can focus a little bit better with football. I had a lot going on outside back then, man. So I just keep my head down and keep working, dog.
Okay, thanks, Willie.
Thank you.
There's Willie Gay Jr. I think that I only caught about half the question. I believe that question about the run stop there was on that play where he got Daniel Jones when the Giants ran an option, basically, like just a good old school option. And Jones kept it. And so what Gay just said there, assuming that I got that play right based on that question there, that he was on a blitz, didn't get through, then read Daniel Jones, and then ended up going through and plugging that hole. The reason I'm circling back on that is because that is a play that is not just about, hey, do your fundamental thing. And that is a play that if you would have done your thing fundamentally as well as humanly possible, and you just simply got blocked, but maybe you weren't super athletic, you would not have had a shot to loop back and get to Daniel Jones. That's good stuff. Like, hey, you know what? That is the perfect example of something that a guy like Willie Gay can do for your defense. Where it's not just, look, you've got to be able to do some of the fundamental stuff. I'm not telling you that every defense should just play street ball, okay? But having that kind of athleticism gives you a chance to win in a secondary manner when it's not just what is exactly according to the books. It's good stuff there from Willie Gay. Also good to hear that he's doing better. He talked about it a little bit more. I think he talked on Saturday. He talked about it more then, if you are interested in hearing more from him on that. But it sounds like he's doing pretty well and is also just being pretty open about some of his mental health struggles, which is great. I think I tweeted something along these lines at the time. But the reason that it's great for people to be open about their mental health issues is because the next person that is dealing with some of their own will know that it's not that weird. It's not some crazy alien thing. So good on Willie Gay for, just being another guy that goes, hey, yep, I'm trying to figure this out for myself as well. So if you are, you've got another person that is, representing that as well. So that's also a very nice thing to hear from him. We have a full phone board. We want to take all these calls. Would like to get all the way back down to 0 on that board and open it back up. If more people want to call in, we'll free up some lines, or maybe we'll get to have our chat with Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest. But we have to take a break first. If you've been on hold for a very long time, George and Butch, I'm looking at you guys first. You'll be up 1-2 whenever we come back here on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. It's brought to you by the Missouri Lottery. The Missouri Lottery and Hy-Vee want to send you and a guest to Denver to watch the Chiefs take on the Broncos. Purchase a $2 Missouri Lottery Powerball ticket at participating Hy-Vee grocery and gas locations to get your chance to win. Also brought to you by CBD American Shaman. Free CBD samples every day.
You're listening to exclusive post-game coverage on Kansas City's home for the NFL, Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. More play, more Powerball. Now on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturdays.
Let me tell you about my other favorite Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from KC, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Grab a Pick 6 from one of 9 area locations and tailgate at Andy's. Grab one today.
Hear exclusive Chiefs coverage every week from the best in the business. Only on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Trent Green, Adam Schefter, Tim Grunhard, Adam Teicher, Matt Derrick, Adam Kaplan, Chef Shadia, Nick Leckie, Gary Barnett, Sam Mellinger, Bill Moss, Mark Bowricker, Stan Weber, Sam McDowell, Seth Kaiser, Blair Kirchhoff, Kevin Harlan, Field Yates, Jesse Newell, Cynthia Freeland, and Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Hi, this is Tim Grunhard, and I want to tell you about a great local Kansas City company, Wilkerson Crane. I see their cranes high above Arrowhead all the time. When your project involves raising large, heavy objects high above, you want to make sure you're working with the right team. At Wilkerson Crane Rentals, you know your job will be raised right because the people in charge were raised right. If you need to move something big, these are the people you want. They have experience and unbelievable training for over 40 years. Wilkerson Crane, raised right.
Tired of living with awful joint pain? If you've been to an orthopedic surgeon, you know the drill. Pain meds, steroids, physical therapy. When those Band-Aids don't work, you know what's next. Surgery. Major surgery. This is Stephen St. John. Don't do it. Not until you check out QC Kinetics, get a second opinion. Learn about natural biologic treatments, restorative regenerative alternatives that can repair and restore damaged tissue in your knees, shoulders, back, and hips. Other joints as well. QC Kinetics uses natural biologics from your own body and concentrates them in the precise damaged area for lasting relief. And it's an in-office treatment with no downtime, no drugs, and no surgery. Don't go under the knife if you don't have to. Call QC Kinetics and get a second opinion now. 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. Non-surgical regenerative options are here. Call 816-412-6299.
At BOK Financial, we believe that no financial challenge is too big and no opportunity too small. We're guided by our commitment to make a difference in the communities we serve. BOK Financial, we are community focused. Ready for some Kansas City fun for the holidays? How about cheering on the Chiefs to a victory in Denver? One lucky winner and a guest will win a trip to Denver courtesy of the Missouri Lottery, Hy-Vee, and Sports Radio 810 WHB. Visit a participating Hy-Vee grocery and gas location now till November 1st. Purchase a $2 Missouri Lottery Powerball ticket for your chance to win. Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. And go Chiefs!
Tired of searching for sports updates in different places? The Xfinity Sports Zone gives you the ultimate sports hub experience. Find games, commentary, news, and highlights all in one place. Use the voice remote to get instant access to stats and scores. Just say, "Show me NASCAR" or "Soccer scores." Plus, get notifications with breaking news alerts and more when the game's about to start. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store for details. Restrictions apply. Requires Xfinity TV service with X1.
Take your adventure to the next level with a new Kia from Robert Brogdon's Olathe Kia. Go off-roading in a rugged new 2022 Kia Sorento. Pack up for a road trip in a spacious new Sportage, or write your next chapter in a well-appointed new Kia Telluride. All new Kias are backed by a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. Your journey starts at Robert Brogdon's Olathe Kia, just a short drive from I-35. Check out OlatheKia.com for exclusive special offers. Warranty is limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
Listen up, sporting fans. Central Bank of the Midwest invites you to score a better banking experience with our new sporting checking account. Now you can show off your team spirit at the match or on the go with the official sporting debit card. Plus, you'll gain access to Central Bank's award-winning mobile app with more than 30,000 reviews and a 4.9-star rating. So, score big today by opening your sporting checking account at any of our convenient Central Bank locations or by visiting sportingchecking.com. Member FDIC.
S'mores jackhammers are new at Andy's. Vanilla frozen custard, graham crackers, hot fudge, and marshmallow jacked down the middle. Andy's frozen custard, 9 Kansas City locations, and more on the way. Top your day with a smile at Andy's.
A KC tradition since 1957 and voted the best steak in Kansas City, Hereford House is a locally owned steakhouse that has served generations of Kansas Cityans. Hereford House exclusively serves certified Hereford beef. All their steaks are aged 21 days, hand-cut daily, and grilled over an open charcoal flame. Go to HerefordHouse.com for hours, new menu items, and to make your reservations. Follow Hereford House on Facebook and Instagram for exclusive specials. Hereford House, voted Kansas City's favorite steakhouse.
Hi there, Gary Giles with Giles & Jewelry. Everybody knows Giles & Jewelry is the place to buy an engagement ring. Thousands of diamond rings, quality second to nobody. Come on into Giles, 95th and Antioch, right in front of the big High B. Giles & Jewelry, we're the jewelers you'll recommend to your friends and family.
Jocelyn's Jewelry for the best that's yet to come.
More play and more power with Powerball with Double Play. For an extra $1, players have the chance to win up to $10 million in a separate drawing. Plus, players have 3 nights a week to play Powerball, now Monday nights. Every ticket you play creates opportunities for Missouri students. So play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. Play responsibly. The Whole Person connects people with disabilities to the resources they need to live independently and enjoy the many opportunities this great city provides. We're focused on creating a fully accessible community where opportunities and choices are not limited by disability. The Whole Person delivers programs and services that enhance the confidence of people with disabilities by providing the skills needed to live, learn, and work in the Kansas City Metro. The Whole Person serves both Missouri and Kansas. Learn more by visiting thewholeperson.org. At BOK Financial, we believe that no financial challenge is too big and no opportunity too small. We're guided by our commitment to make a difference in the communities we serve. BOK Financial, we are community focused.
The Bear-arm quarterback Jones in the gun from his giant 22. Shotgun snap, guns a pass. It's intercepted. Picked off on the play by Willie Gay. Goes past the 20, the 15 to the near side. Taken down on the sideline at the giant 13. The Chiefs with the interception on the first pass thrown by Daniel Jones, the giant quarterback. And they're back in the saddle with a terrific interception by Willie Gay, second year out of Mississippi State.
A great play from Willie Gay Jr., who you just heard from moments ago right here on Sports Radio 810. That play of the game is brought to you by Central Bank of the Midwest. A wonderful bank, a wonderful play, wonderful young linebacker. Make it make more sense than that. You can't. Great all the way around here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. I'm Joshua Brisco, hosting the show this evening, and every evening, unless something else, terrible happens. I couldn't think of a better way to phrase that. I'm your host, Joshua Brisco. That would have probably been a more professional way to do it. Alongside Beards McFly on the other side of the glass, Rudy Salazar roaming around, producing all around the building. Before we do anything else, we will shortly hear from Andy Reid, shortly hear from Patrick Mahomes, shortly chat with Matt Derrick. But some of you have been on hold for a while. I want to get through these calls and start off with George. George, I know you've been on hold for a while. I appreciate you waiting as always. Good to hear from you, my friend.
Absolutely. And congratulations. You're a 500 team.
Yeah, thank you. George is a Cowboys fan and still for some reason listens to this show. And I don't know why, but I'm glad that you do.
Hey, you know what? I'm a long-time listener. Every now and then when Beards lets me call her.
Look, I mean, you probably felt right at home today watching a team just sort of narrowly get by a terrible NFC East team.
With nail-biter finishes. Thank you.
Yes.
And late nail-biter finish.
No kidding.
Sir, if this were the Royals, a 500 season would actually be a decent thing. Mm-hmm. If Sporting was playing a friendly and won against the Red Bulls, would be a nice night.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't mean anything, but it would be a nice night. A 500 team is not bad. It's not good.
Mm-hmm.
And it's certainly not worth $500 million.
Right.
Okay, well, it is because it's 500. 500. Hey, they go together. Sir, it's nice that we got the interception out of the way first.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's nice that we got the sack at the end of the game so that we could at least have half-price burgers tomorrow.
Right.
Okay? I mean, these are nice things.
Yeah. Yes, 100%.
You know, looking optimistically, and thank you for mentioning my boys, but Green Bay and Dallas are coming up very quickly.
Yeah.
Okay? Let's assume we can actually run the table with the AFC West. That's not a good assumption, but let's assume. Is 11-6 going to even make the 7th place?
I think in the AFC right now, probably, which is not definitive, and also I don't know if this team is only going to lose.
My point, sir.
2 more times.
Trying to be nice.
Yeah.
Nice is the
3
word
more
I'm
times.
using tonight. 11. You know, yes, the Packers have your number. There's no question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Ask this question. What's the over-under on the number of games left in the season that the Chiefs score 30 points?
God, I hate that because I want to say all of them, and it's definitely not.
Yeah. These are important questions to ask.
Yeah.
Is Byron Pringle an easy tradable commodity?
Probably not. I don't really know what they would. I don't know what they would get for him. Honestly, he's a nice. He. You know what? He's nice. I'll say he's a nice fifth receiver and good special teamer.
No,
yeah.
I've been a Byron supporter from day one,
Mm-hmm.
and I like his play. Every time I watch, what was the first big play of the game? Byron Pringle.
Mm-hmm.
Nice pass, first down, competent receiver. Of course, it was all in that middle open area. He wasn't uncontested.
Mm-hmm.
I like the win. I like the attitude, but you're going to hear it from Andy here in about 2 seconds. We got to fix things.
Yep.
Well, we're going to fix them, but we got to. This is not home improvement.
Right.
We are not Tim Taylor trying to fix things. We are trying to win football games. We are trying to win some form of a semblance of somewhere in the 7, and we have to think optimistically of 7, of getting into the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Sad. It's sad that we have to be that way,
Yeah.
but it's nice that we have it where we have it, sir.
Yeah, indeed it is. Thank you, George. Always good to hear from you.
Yes.
Here's the thing that George, I think he laid it all out there pretty well. The one other thing that I would just add that is also going to be my explanation here, or this thought is going to be damning as soon as I say it, because you'll get it. If you're 500 right now and you've beaten bad teams and you've lost to good teams, the Chiefs also beat the Browns, so I think are a pretty good team. But if you beat bad teams, lose to pretty good teams, and you're 500 with a difficult road to a playoff spot right now, that's great if you're the Jags or the Jets, or if you were maybe the Dolphins, if you were the Giants even, if you're Washington or Philadelphia, if you're a team that has a head coach in his first or second year with you, or you have a young quarterback in year 1 or 2, you're trying to build something and you're going from a top 5 pick to being a 500 team, that's great. The Chiefs are going from back-to-back Super Bowl appearances to this. And so I at the beginning of the show, you may have heard the hesitance in my voice. I don't want to just come and dump on a team that got a victory, because winning is hard. And I also don't want to tell you that they won so nothing else matters. And I've been kind of intrigued, and we'll see this tested with Butch here in just 1 second. I am kind of intrigued that it seems like just about everybody's called in with more of a frustrated, negative tone that I think is where I'm at. I think that's fair, accurate, reasonable, and correct if I had to be, very binary about thumbs up, thumbs down. I think you should not feel great about this football team today, tomorrow, whatever, even while acknowledging that wins are difficult to come by, because your standards are higher. This will not last, and at this point, maybe it's already been turned around, but I think if I told you before the season the Chiefs went to another AFC championship game, not the result of the game, but just say, hey, the Chiefs are in the AFC championship game again in 2021. I guess the game would be in 2022. They could go, yeah, cool, all right, neat. Then what? because that's the expectation. And I'm sure the Chiefs would have done the same thing. And so that's why everything this year is, being 500 just about halfway through the season is shocking, truly. So let's see where Butch is at. Butch, I know you've been waiting on hold for a while. I appreciate you waiting as always. I cannot wait to hear how you feel about the game tonight.
Okay. How about those Chiefs?
How about them?
Hey, I've been waiting to get that off my chest. Look, you're right. Hey, well, you know what? Patrick Mahomes bumping in a Ferrari on the way home? I get by with a little help from my friend. Yeah, because he needed it out there today. Look, I'm like most Chiefs fans, right? And probably even you a little bit, JB. I'm looking at this and I'm saying to myself, hey, maybe it isn't good enough on Sunday, weeks down the road, whatever. But we talked about this a little bit, didn't we? We said, maybe if they could change their identity just a bit to be a little more physical, maybe they stand a chance.
Mm-hmm.
And you got a little bit of that. Chiefs fans, you got it. You got what you wanted to see, at least in space. A little bit there. You got running the ball in between the tackles. He did it well against a good defensive front, at least in the first half.
Yep.
Right? You got a defensive line that showed up a little bit. 55 looked like he woke up. 95 moves back inside. All of a sudden, you're getting sacks. And you're holding the opposing running back to 3.8 yards per clip.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's not half bad. What's the flip side of it? Well, the flip side of it is we talked, and I'll make this as quick as I possibly can. Like, look, you're starting to see why this thing can't just change. It's not just about making adjustments for Andy Reid. Did you hear that crowd out there? You hear how pins and heels they were? That's because they're waiting for the same thing that you and I were. They're waiting for the big play.
Mm-hmm.
The offensive players are waiting for the big play. The quarterback's waiting for the big play. The defense is waiting for the big play. That's what you are. That's what you practice every single day. That's what you do for two-a-days in the summertime. This is your identity. And when you don't live up to that identity that you paid for these guys for, it's tough, man. You got 4 receptions from Travis Kelsey, and he fumbled one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? That's the epitome of what's going wrong with this team. They want to be – they're trying so hard to fix this identity crisis that they have right now with all these turnovers to regress back to the mean. It's not happening right now, but you're getting an inch closer. Last game, you didn't even get into the red zone. You got into the red zone this time. You kind of turned it over and messed it up a little bit, but at least you got into the red zone. Okay? So Sunday, you take this and you build off of it. You got some good things here, I promise you. Anything can happen on this Sunday. Take it and run with it. Iterate over this process. Maybe you may not become the team you were 2 years ago. You're probably not able to beat Buffalo right now if you play them again. But you could be good enough to beat the Packers with this formula. We'll see what happens, guys. Buckle in and savor the flavor.
I appreciate it, Butch. Always great to hear from you. So the one other element of that I couldn't help but think about also, this is maybe a little more negative than Butch was leaning in terms of like, you can't just change your identity overnight. One element of it also is that the personnel choices that have been made, like, this is the team for the most part. The trade deadline is tomorrow. I don't think they should be mortgaging the future to make a move unless there's something I'm not thinking of that's just like, oh, you know what? Low risk, high reward, whatever. Maybe. But in some ways, this team is what it is. Now, you can do a little bit of iteration. You can run the ball a little more, run a little more power, a little less of sort of the stretch stuff. You can let Darrell Williams and Derrick Gore be those guys. You can take some of those dink and dunk things, but also pins and needles in the stadium, like Butch says. Those deep shots do still need to be a part of this team's identity because it's what makes this team incredible more than anything else. So I saw a little back and forth on Twitter. Seth Kaiser, the aforementioned chief of the North newsletter, all of that, tweeted right towards the end of the game saying, man, what would this defense have looked like if the Chiefs were up more often, if teams were in passing downs more often, and you got to see more of Chris Jones and Frank Clark standing side by side, running after the quarterback and trying to build some chaos there? What would that look like? And I thought I think that's a good question. Followed up by a comment from Ryan Scott Hall, who's half of the Amateur Hour podcast, a fun podcast for Chiefs fans. And he said, isn't that how this team was built to operate? Offense scores a lot, defense gets a lot of chances, and only has to make a handful of plays to be successful. And I think that's true. I think there can be some redemption in their current identity and still room to improve in other places on both sides of the ball. If the offense ends up at a 2-touchdown lead in the first quarter, then the defense is going to have a chance to play its best football. Because the offense is always in passing downs, and your defensive line can just go. And you can see how that pans out. Offensively, and the thing about handing off the ball a little bit more often than I would think of in a baseline situation, specifically with what the Chiefs are seeing, run the ball a little more, use that power, use that physical front, which, again, you can't change overnight, but they do have a pretty... This offensive line can be nasty. Like, all 5 of those dudes have some stink in what they can put on a defensive lineman. And tonight it was Lucas Niang because Mike Rimmers was hurt. Not sure what that'll end up looking like in the long run. Definitely thought it was going to be Rimmers for a while. The injury obviously changes that. But if you can reestablish that teams are going to have to respect some of your underneath stuff, some of your dink and dunk, some of your running game, it can be Mecole Hardman running stretch stuff out of the backfield, little quote-unquote passes that travel half a yard through the air. If you can make those safeties play a little closer, or there can't be 2 of them, or they just simply cannot be 30 yards downfield, which might be an exaggeration, but not by all that much. Well, as soon as they have to start playing you a little bit different defensively, then those deep shots show back up again. The things that do make the Chiefs the team that we've seen them be over these last couple of years, at least offensively, can return. I really, again, feeding a fed horse, as the kids say. But I just wish that this team had another pass-catching option that could really put a strain on defenses. All the pass catchers that are currently involved have a role to play, and they've done it in varying levels of success. But, again, Byron Pringle is sort of a tertiary weapon who can be a little bit of a possession receiver here or there. That's a good dude to have on your roster. Plays you some special teams also. He deserves a spot on an NFL roster. I also don't think they should cut Ben Neiman. I think he's an NFL caliber football player. But you don't want him to be the only linebacker on the field. You don't want Byron Pringle to have to be wide receiver 2. Mecole Hardman is an incredibly talented human being. He is not a fully formed wide receiver right now, despite having a dominant trait that obviously makes him deserve a spot on an NFL roster. And if they just had one more, and look, a lot of teams don't have one or certainly 2 of these guys, but if they had one more of those options that you just feel like defenses have to absolutely respect, then either they do something that ends up opening up Tyreek Hill or Travis Kelsey, or option number 3 just gets to feast. That first part, I think we saw a ton whenever Sammy Watkins was here and also on the field. The offense was better even whenever it wasn't all going to Watkins. And the Chiefs knew it. They were very in on Juju Smith-Schuster. I think they were in on a couple other of those guys as well. And I wish they would have drafted Michael Pittman. I'd like to see T. Higgins on this team. Whoever. And the offense has a lot of the problems that it has right now, I think, with all of that stacked atop it. Beards, go ahead and close us out for the rest of this. I want to blaze through these calls this hour, then we'll get to Matt Derrick at the top of the next hour. But Dan has been on hold for a while. Dan, appreciate you waiting. What's on your mind?
Hey, Josh, how you doing? Yeah, it wasn't pretty, but it was a good team win by the Chiefs. Williams, 29 yards, and Derrick Gore, 48 yards with a touchdown, and Willie Gay's interception. Yeah, really was the deal. And the game-winning sack by Chris Jones and Frank Clark making plays. And I just heard Chris Jones, let's build off this. Let's go get this game next week against the Packers. Let's beat them by 20. I thought this would be by 3 touchdowns. Fine, let's win by 3 touchdowns next week. Take care of yourself, Josh.
Appreciate it, Dan. Always good to hear from you. And look, I'll say this. The last few callers, I think, have been more in the mindset of like, oh, God, they're going to lose to the Packers by 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, whatever. If this is sort of the inverse of what we just saw today. Coming into this game today, we'll try to match Dan's energy again. Dan's got a great energy to give me the little breath of fresh air at this point in the show. Really appreciate it, Dan. Coming into this week, it was, hey, the Chiefs are not going to lose to the Giants. But if they do, oh boy. let me just flip it on its head and let's see how it sounds for next week, okay? The Chiefs are not going to beat the Packers. But if they do, oh boy. Right? You see how that's different? The Packers are going to be favored next week. They should be. They've played better football this year than the Chiefs have. Right now, they might have the better all-around roster. Maybe have the better quarterback. Hard to say. And I think that right now, if you made me pick that game right now, I would pick the Packers. But if the Chiefs do win that game, think about how different post-game could feel next week. If you want to be an optimist about it, that's the fun way to look at it. Let's get to Mark. Mark, you're on the Sports Radio 810 post-game show. What's on your mind?
JP. Thanks for taking my call.
Absolutely.
I want to laugh yet. I can't fathom the possibility of us beating Green Bay, but
totally fair, by the way. Totally fair.
I mean, we have to play mistake-free football to beat a team like Green Bay. We cannot turn the ball over. We cannot have, I don't know how many penalties we had today, but I was at the game. It was a lot.
It was a lot.
And there were key penalties that extended drives. And we had another Daniel Sorensen, although I think he had decent coverage. I don't know how that ball. I think only Daniel Sorensen can allow the ball to be completed. Any other defensive back would have, I don't know, been in a better position to knock it down. It's the same, a lot of the same stuff, and we were able to overcome it because we played a lesser team.
Yep, agreed.
So, the part that I'm struggling with is we have the talent to beat teams like Green Bay and Dallas. I think what I'm learning, and I think if you look at what the Chiefs did today, they ran the hell out of the ball today. I mean, they had a great rushing day. I mean, the run plays that didn't that weren't successful, and there weren't that many of them, were formations where they put in 3 tight ends, and there was no deception there. There was no athleticism, right? It's not like we're in our 3 wides and we're running out of that formation where we had a lot of success. So I think the short passing game is an extension of our running attack. I really think we need to almost be balanced if we can with runs and short passes, and take the shots when we can, because I think Mahomes is struggling with some of his decision making. I'm not gonna criticize Patrick Mahomes. I think he's great, and the fact that his last 2 years he's been exceptional, and now we're seeing him kind of come back to earth a little bit, and people were saying the sky's falling. But I think we need to help him out, and our running it. We spent a ton of money on the offensive line. To your point, we've drafted a running back, although he's not playing in the first round. We chose not to sign a third receiver. Granted, I know he tried, but we just didn't do it. So, I mean, we put money in. I know it was maybe to protect Patrick Mahomes, but at this point now, I think we need to double down on the run, which I never in my life with Patrick Mahomes as a quarterback thought I'd ever say. But
yeah.
I think we need to. This is where I'm at right now.
Mark, I appreciate your call. I agree with pretty much everything from it. I want to expand on the run game real quick, and then I want to mention the penalties, and then we'll get to Eric up next. But I don't. Here's the thing: they shouldn't double down on the running game for the sake of doubling down on the running game. If running the ball more often means that they are in a better position to throw the ball more effectively, and oftentimes I think that's more of a that's more of a conventional wisdom sort of hiccup that doesn't actually exist. For the Chiefs' sake right now, I think it actually does. If they run the ball more often so they can throw the ball more often, more effectively, I'm absolutely fine with that. Again, you should not run the ball just for the sake of it in the NFL. But whenever you have a defense that is so afraid of Patrick Mahomes and afraid of Tyreek Hill and afraid of Travis Kelsey that they are daring you to run the football, then go ahead and do it. Also, 103 yards of total penalties for the Chiefs tonight, 88 for the Giants. Although I'll note that the Giants declined what would have been a very long DPI on Daniel Sorensen because the pass was actually caught. So it would have been significantly another significant chunk added to that. Over 100 yards of penalties, though, obviously, is no good. Eric, got about a minute here for you. Eric, what's on your mind?
Hey, Josh. How you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Hey, we're headed back to the league, so if we cut out at all, I do apologize. But I wanted to point out the fact that Aaron Rodgers, just beat the Cardinals, the last undefeated NFL team, without his top 3 pass catchers.
Mm-hmm.
Not a third option for Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback in the NFL, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, what does he need to be provided at this point as a fan? Like, what do we feel he needs in order to succeed if these teams like the Washington football team and the New York Giants?
Yeah. I think it's a really fair question. I'll let you go unless you have something else you want to stack on that. I'll answer you off the air.
Yeah. I'll tack on and give me up after you respond to that. About Andy Reid, the sequence, the play calling, just like for a mastermind, like how he's not putting more options together. Like the 2 deep, run the ball. We all know it. I had John Chance behind me tonight telling us what we should be doing. I hear it every week on your show, on Soren's show, on the morning show, on Anderson. We all know it.
Yeah.
We just can't get it. So I'll listen to you off the air, man. Appreciate you. And I'm glad you're healthy.
Thank you, Eric. I appreciate all of those things. And I'm probably not going to be able to return the favor for you here because I think those are really good questions that I don't think I have the answers to. The Aaron Rodgers question, I think, is a great one to start there. He was without all of his receivers on Thursday night. And their offense wasn't at its best by any means, but he was still pretty good in using the guys around him that he just simply had. Now, look, Patrick Mahomes' debut was throwing to Demarcus Robinson and a bunch of other dudes I can't remember off the top of my head right now because he was playing with backups. This is a very different time than that, and Aaron Rodgers is doing it at a different time where both of those guys have been in the league now for a very long time, obviously, in Rodgers' case, and still a pretty good time for Mahomes. Pretty good length of time. And as I kind of glossed over it earlier when I mentioned that, like, a lot of teams don't have one Tyreek Hill or Travis Kelsey. Very few teams have 2 of them. And whenever I am watching the issues the Chiefs have right now, my first thought is that third option would make things move so much easier for this team. But should that be necessary for it? Probably not. I would have loved for it to be Josh Gordon. I don't know that that's happening. And I don't know. Maybe the remainder of Aaron Rodgers' weapons was having a better time getting open against the Cardinals, even whenever it was out without Devontae Adams and several others. I don't know if the group of supporting cast guys below Hill and Kelsey for the Chiefs are significantly worse than the remaining average of the league for their, third, fourth, fifth options. I'm not sure. And in terms of Andy Reid, again, I apologize to just sort of flop out a couple non-answers, what I think are stumping questions. I don't think that it's fair to wonder if Andy Reid is, if the game is passing him by or whatever, and some callers earlier mentioned that. But the idea that they have been pretty well stumped for the most part these last couple of weeks is really frustrating and very surprising. I do think it's going to get better from here. But by how much, I'm not sure. I'll ask Mac Darrett about that whenever we come back here on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show.
You're listening to exclusive postgame coverage on Kansas City's home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Brought to you by Casey's own CBD American Shaman. Come on into your local Shaman store for a free sample of stress-sacking CBD. Everything is better with the feather.
Let me tell you about my other favorite Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from KC, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Grab a Pick 6 from one of 9 area locations and tailgate at Andy's. Grab one today. Just like Kansas City, Audi Shawnee Mission knows how to win. Come in today to see why Audi Shawnee Mission is rated one of the top dealers in the Central region by Audi of America. Stop in at Audi of Shawnee Mission and experience their brand new state-of-the-art facility. It's easy to get to directly off I-35 in Merriam, at the corner of I-35 and 67th Street. Audi of Shawnee Mission is a proud supporter of our hometown team in red. Come see why they are champions too. At BOK Financial, we believe that no financial challenge is too big and no opportunity too small. We're guided by our commitment to make a difference in the communities we serve. BOK Financial, we are community focused.
Hi, this is Tim Grunhard, and I want to tell you about a great local Kansas City company, Wilkerson Crane. I see their cranes high above Arrowhead all the time. When your project involves raising large, heavy objects high above, you want to make sure you're working with the right team. At Wilkerson Crane Rentals, you know your job will be raised right because the people in charge were raised right. If you need to move something big, these are the people you want. They have experience and unbelievable training for over 40 years. Wilkerson Crane, raised right.
S'mores jackhammers are new at Andy's. Vanilla frozen custard, graham crackers, hot fudge, and marshmallow jacked down the middle. Andy's frozen custard, 9 Kansas City locations, and more on the way. Top your day with a smile at Andy's.
If you're ready for a new vehicle, it's time to visit Robert Brogdon Buick GMC in Olathe. They're offering 0% financing on many new Buick and GMC models, including the 2022 Buick Envision or GMC Acadia. Plus, the 2021 GMC Yukon and Sierra heavy duty and light duty trucks are now available. At Brogdon, they don't just sell cars, they buy them too. Even if you don't trade in your vehicle, they'll still buy yours. Visit robertbrogdon.com or see them in person at I-35 in Santa Fe and Olathe. Must qualify and finance through GMF for special APR.
Hi, I'm Bob Hamilton. Good news is we can still keep your house warm and comfortable this winter.
Better call Bob and get a $99 furnace safety inspection and cleaning. Time for a new furnace? Get a brand new one for just $68 a month.
That's Bob Hamilton, plumbing, heating, AC, router, and electrical. Better call Bob. Right, Bert?
Bob Hamilton Plumbing and Electrical. Heating and AC. Call 888-4BOB. Remember 913.
Hey guys, it's Grunny here for my friends at CBD American Shaman. Man, I love football and I love big scores. When Kansas City scores, you score big at your local CBD American Shaman stores the day after the game. If Kansas City puts up 30, it's 30% off all the next day at your local CBD American Shaman store. If they put up 50, you got it, 50% off all the very next day. Now that's a big win. CBD American Shaman. Life is so much better with the feather.
Looking for a place to host your corporate wellness needs, happy hour, or birthday party? Home Field is your place. They are conveniently located in Olathe, KCMO, and soon in KCK. Home Field has state-of-the-art facilities for youth and adults. Your company could work together, play kickball, dodgeball, cornhole, or any turf sport. And Home Field can accommodate food and adult beverages as well. Facility space and time is running low, so call today or inquire through their website, homefieldkc.com. Home Field is your home court advantage.
Everyone knows Family Leisure is having the world's biggest spa sale. Did you know it's also time to save hundreds, even thousands on patio furniture, pool tables, shuffleboard, and more? You can beef up your entertainment area with couches, sectionals, and theater seating now on sale at Family Leisure. Make it a September to remember with special 810 listener pricing at Family Leisure. Spas, basketball goals, play sets, trampolines, everything for family and fun together on sale at Family Leisure. K10 and Ridgeview in Olathe.
913-888-7727. Awesome.
He was a key contributor to the great teams of the 1990s.
Timmy is one of the greatest Chiefs ever to wear that uniform.
Great job, Grunny. You've deserved this for a long time. So happy you've made the Chiefs Hall of Fame.
Our very own Tim Grunhard will be inducted Monday night into the Chiefs Hall of Fame.
Even after retirement, you've made Kansas City your home. Congrats, buddy.
Congratulations from all of us at Sports Radio 810 WHB.
WHB Kansas City.
Third and goal, Giants 6. Mahomes in the gun. There's the snap. Drops back 3. Left tackle block. Moves up in the pocket. Gets out of harm's way. Runs up the middle. Throws in the end zone. Back. And it's caught on a dive. Tyreek Hill underneath the crossbar. Deep in the end zone. Touchdown pass by Patrick Mahomes of 6 yards. The Chiefs cash in on the interception of Jones and take it in for 6.
It was a pretty sweet play right there from Patrick Mahomes to Tyreek Hill. In fact, it was so sweet that we're making it our sweet play of the game, brought to you by Andy's Frozen Custard. It's pie season at Andy's. Be sure to try their famous pumpkin pie concrete or apple pie sundae this fall. A perfect post-game stop or anytime stop. Andy's Frozen Custard. Our resident custard expert and, our sweet guest of the day is also on the line right now. It is Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest. You can read his work at chiefsdigest.com. Follow him on Twitter at Matt Derrick. And also brought to you by Bob Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, Rooter, and Electrical. You better buzz Bob. Now offering electrical services, panels, wiring, generators, updating fixtures. They do it all. Offering a whole home electrical inspection for just $99. Call 888-4BOB. Remember the 913. Matt, this was, you know what? I'm not going to tell you what this game was tonight. You tell me what this game was tonight through your eyes.
It was a win.
Yep. Legally true?
That's what I'll stick with that. I'll stick with a win.
Yeah.
It was a Chiefs win.
We've talked about all of this from so many different angles already of where the Chiefs are at this point. Did you learn anything about the Chiefs tonight?
I don't think that we necessarily learned anything. I think that we had a lot of things reinforced, and chief among them is that this is a Chiefs team that still, I think, defies adequate explanation. I mean, I don't know I still don't know what to think of this team. 8 games in, I don't know what to think. I can't say this is a bad team because it's got too much talent to be a bad team. Is it an unlucky team? Maybe at the end of the season we'll look back and maybe we'll say that this team just was snake bit and had a lot of bad luck go against it, and that was it. Is it a flawed team? For sure. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's just a flawed team. I don't know, but this team just continues to be an enigma wrapped in a riddle, wrapped in a jelly donut.
I'd go for a jelly donut right now, at least.
I could go for some custard right now. I wonder if Andy's is open at 1 o'clock on a Tuesday morning.
I had that same thought because every time I talk about our great friends from Andy's Frozen Custard, I have to spend the next 30 to 45 seconds just telling myself that there's no way for me to get custard from this chair right now, and that I just need to keep it moving. But every week I've had that issue of like, man, I would love some custard right now. Would really put a nice little nightcap on, especially on these primetime games. I got to just put it in the fridge. I just got to plan ahead next time.
I don't know. You say you were in a chair. Right now I'm on what I can loosely be defined as a sofa. It's not really a sofa, but it's just enough of a sofa and comfortable enough, and it's late enough at night or / early in the morning that I could fall asleep if I wanted to.
Okay, I have several very specific sports football questions here. What is an almost sofa, though? Like, you got like a love seat, which is like a little smaller than a sofa. Is it smaller than a love seat? Is it what is making it almost a sofa?
It is. It's here in the penthouse suite here at GEHA Field at Arrowhead Stadium, and they've got these little like ottoman things laying around that are kind of in this area. But at either end, they also have these cushions built into the wall, and then there's the little ottomans that are kind of wedged underneath them, except they're permanently built in. So this is, it's built into the wall. So it's kind of, like I said, and it doesn't have arms, and it doesn't have a high back, but it's got cushions that are actually pretty hard, and it's got a seating area that, you can kind of lay down on if you wanted to. I'm sure there probably have been some people, and the longer and longer I think about this, I probably don't want to lay here because I'm sure there's been a lot of laying going on here that I would not be happy with if I knew what had happened on this seating area.
Sure. I'll let you not have to explain that in any more detail, I guess. It seems like it's one of those places where you could fall asleep after a night game, but would not choose as a nap spot. I think that
I'll post a picture of this on Twitter after we're done.
Okay, that's fantastic. I also love that because it's going to force a few more people to @MattDerrick on Twitter, which is where we want them to go to make sure they're following you.
That's premium content. That's what you get at Twitter. From me.
I can retweet that after you tweet it out from my account, which is @JB Brisco, and I think really that'll make us all very happy. There's one thing that I believe I just saw you tweet about, or maybe someone retweeted it just shortly before we gave you a call, and it's very interesting because we've spent, again, these last couple of weeks talking about how the Chiefs could adjust offensively to take more of an advantage of what they're seeing from opposing defenses. And tonight, you got pretty good efforts from both Darrell Williams and Derrick Gore. Neither one of them averaged 7 yards a carry or anything, but they're both over that 3.3 clip you'd like to see as a floor. Gore averaged over almost 4.5 yards per carry. And also, as has been the case now for a good chunk the last couple of weeks, not against the Titans, but they seemed like they were good situationally. Like whenever you needed, a 3-yard run isn't bad if you only need 2, right? So you get that from those guys. And then also you get the most bizarre passing chart I think maybe we've ever seen from Patrick Mahomes, where he has 15 passes that he throws behind the line of scrimmage, and all 15 of those are completed for 121 yards with 165 yards after the catch. It's courtesy of Next Gen Stats on Twitter. The most completions behind the line of scrimmage by any quarterback since 2016. I think that's interesting as maybe another way of trying to take advantage of having 2 safeties that are in a different zip code that are actually on the Kansas side. But it also feels like they are being told how to play by opposing defenses, which I'm not sure is a healthy strategy either. So talk to me about what you're seeing and how they've responded, specifically how they responded tonight in terms of their offense schematically.
Yeah, I thought there was a couple of really interesting things the way they went about it. Because, yes, I mean, the armchair quarterbacks of late have certainly, I'm certainly guilty of it too.
It's literally our jobs. Don't have to apologize for it.
It is. But, I mean, the armchair quarterbacks of late has been, hey, you know what, the Chiefs need to simply just take advantage of what defenses give them.
Mm-hmm.
If defenses are going to force them to move down the field 17 plays, 75 yards for scores, go ahead and do that. It's boring football, sure. It's winning football. I mean, you're going to win if you do that. I mean, if teams just let you, knife them to death, go ahead and knife them to death.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't have to run up and down the field. I mean, if teams are going to do everything that they can to take away the deep ball, then do this. I mean, just do what they're giving you. And I thought it was really intriguing because, I mean, we're talking about those passes behind the line of scrimmage, and let's face it, I mean, 5 years ago, 15 passes behind the line of scrimmage would have been, 13 screen plays and a couple of throws to the flat.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what the Chiefs are doing.
That's
I mean,
true.
They're doing using these pop passes and shovel passes and everything in order to get the ball to some of their speedsters and take advantage of that speed on the edge.
Mm-hmm.
And that certainly worked tonight. I mean, they broke that a couple of times. McCole Hardman's big play there at the end was exactly that. Just, hey, get the ball to McCole Hardman in the backfield on a pop pass and let him work. That's Andy Reid's more effective way of doing exactly what we've all been saying, which is just, hey, get the ball into your playmakers' hands. Go to the short passing game, in this case, basically handoffs, and do that. The other thing that I thought was interesting, we did see from Mahomes tonight, was, a willingness to even go down to the check down. Darrell Williams caught 6 passes tonight.
Yeah.
Some of those were designed plays to the running back, but several of them were just pure check down.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something we haven't seen, to the point that, that was the second most catches by a running back with Patrick Mahomes as quarterback in the NFL. He had one game where Damian Williams.
There we go. Nailed it. I wanted to help you so bad, but I didn't know who you were going to go for. That Damian Williams makes sense, though.
He caught 7 passes in the game from Mahomes. Darwin Thompson caught 7 passes in the game from Chad Henne. But other than that,
really?
Other than that, 6 is the most for tonight. So, I mean, that I thought showed a new page from Mahomes. But probably the area that we should be focusing on, because I think that was where the problems were tonight, at least when the offensive struggled, is take out those 15 passes from Mahomes behind the line of scrimmage. Any quarterback should complete throws behind the line of scrimmage.
Mm-hmm.
I think that leaves him 14 of maybe 34, if my math is correct, off the top of my head. That's not great.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, I feel stupid saying this because, I mean, Patrick Mahomes is, even at his young age, has forgotten more about being a quarterback than I'll ever know.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to learn a lot more still about being a quarterback than I've ever learned to this point in my life. But he's just not doing Patrick Mahomes things right now.
Yeah.
And some of that is, I think, just not making some of the reads that he's made in the past. Some of it's not making the throws. Some of it's maybe not the pocket composure that we've seen in the past. And that's what I can't explain. I mean, because that's what really, at least, especially the last few weeks, seems to be increasing. And I have no explanation for that.
I was going to ask if you had any explanation for that, but it seems like if I'm doing my job as an interviewer and listening well right now, it seems like you don't have an answer for that because you just said as much. So what should we be looking for then? Like, what is the next step? What would the Chiefs be looking for right now if you're going, hey, we don't know what's wrong, but Patrick Mahomes doesn't look quite like the bold, italicized, underlined Patrick Mahomes that we've seen him be. What comes next? What is even... Yeah, I guess if there's not an answer, that because we don't really know what it is that's going on there, what could you be looking for that might indicate if that ship is turning around or if that's going to be something that is maybe broken for a little while longer?
Well, and, when we say broken, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think the Chiefs had 11 drives tonight, 11 possessions, scored on 4 of them, not bad, but, I mean, this team is used to scoring on 50% of its possessions.
Right.
So they left at least 2 scores out on this field, and considering it was the Giants, probably 3. Maybe they should have scored 2 or 3 more times. Okay. I think there were 2 drives in particular, those 2 drives in the first half that, I mean, those are the drives that I think you got to kind of circle as being problems. I mean, there were a couple of drives in the second half that were just torpedoed by mistakes. You had the Kelsey fumble, which once again doesn't normally happen, but everybody's turning the football over on this team right now. So just put that in that pot right there.
He's a team player. He wanted to get in on the fun. Everyone else had turned the ball over. Travis wanted one of his. Exactly.
And there was at least 1 or 2 of those drives that were just completely torpedoed by penalties. That I don't even know if, is a thing tonight because I think the officials just called a penalty on every single play. So I don't know if it was anybody's fault that they got a penalty tonight. I kind of put that on the zebras there. But in that first half, they had a couple of opportunities, and I thought that first half the offense was really effective in the script. That first drive was basically entire opening 15, and that was a really good drive. I mean, other than the interception, which I can't explain that one. I mean, that was just another kind of fluky interception, although if Mahomes throws the ball 140 miles an hour, there is always a chance it's not going to get caught and it will get batted in the air. But it was the next couple of drives after that you didn't see Mahomes doing what he did a lot of the game, and certainly not an opening drive. The opening drive was basically set up to make sure that Mahomes didn't have to take too many deep shots, that it was a lot of just getting the ball out quickly, a lot of quick outs, a lot of quick reads, all of that. And then in those next 2 drives, there were just, you could see his eyes starting to go downfield a little bit more and trying to force it a bit more. And once again, you go back to the fact, right now, that ball's not there. I mean, he said, talked about it in the postgame presser, the one deep throw at the Hill. If he gets that, maybe it changes. And, yeah, I mean, Hill was maybe open by a yard and a half, but that would have had to have been an absolutely perfectly dime-thrown football to get to him. And honestly, I mean, quickly glancing at it after the game, there were probably other places that ball could have gone. I mean, it's coming back to the, if it's not in the script, is it a matter of Mahomes' instincts are still trying to force the ball downfield? And, it's just not there right now. And some of it is, maybe some of it's mechanical. I mean, some of it is that, we're not seeing the crisp balls delivered right into the window that we usually see from Mahomes. And, if that's the case, then, I mean, I think that just reiterates even more that, you don't want to tell Patrick Mahomes to not be Patrick Mahomes. But at the same time, he kind of needs to not be Patrick Mahomes for a while until you get some defenses to loosen up against you.
Speaking of defense, Chris Jones says we don't talk about this one often enough. And, or at least whenever we have lately, it hasn't been flattering. 17 points against the Giants. I thought that the Giants would score more than they did tonight. Now, thanks in part to Joe Judge having no idea how to manage fourth down situations. That certainly helped out because that was embarrassing. But the defense overall tonight put up their best performance in a little while. The Giants are no world beaters. They were not fully healthy by any means. I understand all that. But what did you think about the defensive side of the ball?
Yeah, they got some pressure on the quarterback for once. which was different. And they were able to do it with 4 on occasion, which was really, really, impressive and good. I think we saw a healthier Chris Jones. I mean, he talked about in the fact that, and it's been clear, that wrist has been a problem. And now, Chris has admitted that, hey, it's torn ligament. He's probably not going to be healthy the entire season. If they're torn ligaments, probably not going to be healthy until they're repaired in the off season.
Yeah.
So you got that to look forward to. That Chris is probably going to have some off season work. And it's been clear. Chris Jones has not been healthy, and that's why to me it doesn't matter where you put him. You can line him up anywhere on the field. If Chris Jones isn't healthy, and that wrist is bothering him, it's going to be a problem no matter what. I think you saw him at least being a little bit more comfortable tonight than we've seen in a while. He's certainly, I think, getting a lot more pressure. And they're going to have to. They have to get that. That's the only thing that we've been talking about. Really, the only thing that's going to make this defense better is Chris Jones getting healthy and getting better.
Yeah.
They have made every other move that they can make, and we'll see if those continue. Nick Bolton and Willie Gay being on the field as much as possible makes this team better.
Yep.
I think Juan Thornhill being on the field as much as possible makes this team better. Chris Jones being healthy, Frank Clark being healthy, makes this team better. And those are the only 2 things that are really left. That they can try and do to make this defense better. And and they are. They're getting better against the run, and I think that's coincided with Willie Gay getting into the lineup.
Yeah.
That's, I think, been a big part of it. Nick Bolton playing more of the middle linebacker, a big part of it. They're moving in the right direction. I don't think there's any doubt. This defense is better than it was, say, 6 weeks ago.
Yeah. I agree. I think that's all totally fair. And I tweeted something along those lines. Somebody had tweeted about the trade deadline. I want to ask you about that in a second. But someone tweeted about the trade deadline. Said, look, the biggest things the Chiefs could do to improve this year have nothing to do with anyone that they could acquire, because what's the ceiling for a reasonable guy they could bring in via trade? Is it Melvin Ingram, right? Somebody in that realm would first of all cost you something, obviously. But then beyond that, what could they actually bring to the table? Well, it's a healthy Melvin Ingram even helps you less than a fully healthy or a rejuvenated Frank Clark. And he talked to us for a long time on Friday and talked about how his hamstrings were an issue and really he's kind of just getting back to full speed. I'm willing to, whenever a player says, hey, let me explain how this injury has impacted me, I am super willing to listen to that because we very rarely get that kind of honesty. Clark did it on Friday. Jones did it today. If those guys get healthier, that's your best chance. You just said this, but I'm going to repeat it in a different voice. That's your best chance of actually seeing this defense continue to improve. If Patrick Mahomes looks like MV Patrick Mahomes, then you're in a different place offensively. If one of those pass catchers, if Josh Gordon gets to actually be a part of the offense, because he's the only really unknown in that group right now, then you can see there be a little bit of an improvement there in-house. Like you said, with the linebackers and the safeties, we've seen them make some of those improvements, and then we've also still seen some of the replaced linebacker and safety still have their issues. But I do think there is room to build a little optimism in there if you wanted to.
Yeah, you could absolutely. And if we are talking about internal solutions, I truly believe that with this defense, about the only internal solutions are getting a couple of guys healthy. Now looking towards the trade deadline, and tomorrow, later today, I guess. What are the options and alternatives? Gosh, yeah. What kind of positions could come in here and help this team, and what would be available? To me, it's really hard for a linebacker to come in and make an impact, and I think the Chiefs, hey, you get Hitchens back, I think they're going to be okay at that spot. Maybe safety, maybe corner, maybe edge rusher are positions that could help out. But then again, Chiefs have no room under the salary cap.
Mm-hmm.
So that really limits things. That's why, Melvin Ingram's name is definitely going to get mentioned to the Chiefs because he doesn't have a very big contract, and most of it's being eaten by the Steelers in signing bonus, so he doesn't have that much salary to absorb.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, that's the problem, is that with what the Chiefs can afford, the only thing that they're going to be able to afford is a veteran, for the most part, that's not making very much money. Because for a young guy who's not making very much money, the team's not going to let him go,
right.
or they're no good.
Right.
So that's not going to help you. So the pool of who could come and who is available, I think, is pretty limited. I mean, I know running backs have been mentioned too, but, I mean, once again, you see the kind of production you get from a Derrick Gore. Do you really need to go out and make a deal for a running back? I don't. I would not give up a draft pick for a running back of any sort.
Me neither. I love to hear that from you. It really puts some love back in my soul. Thank you for saying that. I'll let you go on this because there's, I don't know. There are a handful of other things that I still think are kind of interesting. We can look ahead to the Packers, and I'm sure there are several things there as we, figure all of that out that are kind of interesting. But I'm actually going to go steal a question that a caller asked me last segment because one thing I talked about is that it just seems like there was at least one instance where they broke this down on the broadcast where, and I'll be curious to see what you thought, kind of actually getting to watch the All-22 in real time. Maybe I'm off base on this, but it seemed like the Giants, as many teams have done recently, have just said, we are going to make it really hard for you to throw the ball to Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelsey, and then we're going to give pretty much everybody else one-on-one matchups and see if anyone can create some separation before our pass rush gets there. I wish this offense had a third pass catcher that I had some faith in. It doesn't right now, or at least, as a receiver who you can trust to consistently win one-on-one matchups. Step one of that is, do you think that is fair, reasonable, accurate, whatever? And then the second thing is that the caller was asked, so, Aaron Rodgers went out there and had a pretty good performance without his top, 3 receivers on Thursday night? Is there something that leans on the Chiefs, on Reid or Mahomes, where you'd say, hey, you know what? You have Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelsey. You should be able to get someone else open.
Yeah, that's a fascinating point because, I go back to something that was, said many years ago about Brett Favre is, that he's the kind of quarterback that, makes average receivers good and, good receivers great. And quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes do that.
Yeah.
Which does beg the question, is that do the Chiefs just have, a great receiver in Tyreek Hill that Patrick Mahomes is making a Hall of Famer, and then they have a bunch of maybe below average receivers that Patrick Mahomes makes look average.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, that's, I think, a really tough question, and it does beg the question about, Aaron Rodgers can go out there and seemingly move the football against a pretty good defense in Arizona with just a bunch of guys off the street, more or less. What's the draw problem with the Chiefs? I don't know. I mean, I think that's a really good question. And the other answer I have to this is, you wish that the Chiefs maybe had another primary target outside of Hill and Kelsey that can win some one-on-one matchups. I think they've got that guy, and his name is Josh Gordon.
Yeah.
And for some reason, Andy keeps saying he's close. He's that close. But that's that close. He's right now. Josh Gordon seems to be as close to making an impact in this Chiefs offense as I am.
You're both in the building. Like at that point, it's probably a negligible margin beyond that. It's really frustrating because I want to have a lot of fun watching Josh Gordon. I'd like for him to be a part of this offense for multiple years to come, and I just haven't seen it yet, which is a little bit of a bummer. So, but I think I like the Favre connection there, and that also, I think if you do look at the guys, and again, you can do this for Aaron Rodgers, I totally understand that. But Byron Pringle's probably a special teamer on some other teams, that doesn't ever actually see that much work. And here he's all of a sudden, it's like, can Byron Pringle be the Sammy Watkins replacement? Like, I don't know, man. He's got a role, but I would like to see Josh Gordon play more. I guess we could leave it there. Thank you, Matt. Apologies for keeping you up so far past your bedtime. Please don't fall asleep on that little couch, but do please tweet out a picture of it.
I am doing it right now.
Okay, follow him on Twitter. Go look at this picture of this weird seating thing at Arrowhead, at Matt Derrick on Twitter, and read his work at ChiefsDigest.com. Thank you, Matt.
Take care, Josh.
It's the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show right here on, believe it or not, Sports Radio 810 WHB. It's brought to you by the Missouri Lottery. Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. More play, more power. Powerball now on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Also brought to you by CBD American Shaman. When Kansas City scores, you score big at your local CBD American Shaman. Our team score is your % off. They scored 20 points tonight, so you get 20% off all day tomorrow. CBD American Shaman, life is better with the feather. We'll take a break. Whenever we come back, Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes next on Sports Radio 810.
You're listening to exclusive post-game coverage on Kansas City's home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810 WHB, presented by the Missouri Lottery and CBD American Shaman.
Do you feel valued and appreciated? Tired of where you currently are? Burned out or just burned up by the dealership game and corporate bureaucracy? We believe that you and your family deserve more than just a paycheck. We believe that you should be able to enjoy your job, enjoy your coworkers, and feel like you're making a difference. In short, we feel that you should feel appreciated. Kansas City Transportation Group is looking for a solid, honest, and reliable mechanic and auto tech. We offer flexible schedule, paid time off, and benefits for your family. If you're looking to upgrade your career and feel like what you're doing makes a difference, then apply at kctg.com.
Every weekday on Sports Radio 810, tune in to hear Kansas City's favorite local lineup. At 6 a.m., wake up with the Border Patrol with Stephen St. John and Nate Bucati. At 10, it's The Zone with Jason Anderson. Now at 2, get into the program with Soren Petro. And wrap up your day on Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco. Kansas City's hometown sports station. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Just like Kansas City, Audi Shawnee Mission knows how to win. Come in today to see why Audi Shawnee Mission is rated one of the top dealers in the Central region by Audi of America. Stop in at Audi of Shawnee Mission and experience their brand new state-of-the-art facility. It's easy to get to directly off I-35 in Merriam, at the corner of I-35 and 67th Street. Audi of Shawnee Mission is a proud supporter of our hometown team in red. Come see why they are champions too.
Join Union Broadcasting in thanking local companies that care. Union Broadcasting salutes CBD American Shaman for their support of the Derek Thomas and Neil Smith Third and Long Foundation, sacking illiteracy among urban youth. Through social, cultural, and educational activities, the Third and Long Foundation helps participating children in school and beyond. You can also help by donating at thirdandlong.org. Thank you, CBD American Shaman, for being a company that cares.
Hey, it's Bob with Culligan Water. After doing hundreds of water tests in the Kansas City area, I noticed a pattern. So I've developed water treatment packages that specifically target water issues we face here locally. All of my packages include 2 years of free service and maintenance. Contact me, Bob, at culligankansascity.com/Bob. That's culligankansascity.com/Bob. Let's talk about how to better your water. When you think of better water, think of Bob with Culligan Water.
Kansas basketball returns to Allen Fieldhouse Wednesday, November 3rd when your Jayhawks host Emporia State at 7 p.m. Single game tickets are available now.
Gets his own rebound and rocks that rim hard. A one-hand posterizing jam from David McCormick.
Call 800-34-HAWKS or visit kuathletics.com/tickets to get your seat in Allen Fieldhouse today.
Chiefs 43, 1st and 10, shotgun snap. Mahomes out of the pocket. There's a sidearm throw. It's a belt-high catch at the 47-yard line of the Giants on the near side. I don't know how he got that ball. He threw that ball, released it below his hip as he was running in a gain of 11 and a first down to the Giant 46.
Yeah, you say sidearm. They look like almost like a softball pitcher just slinging it down underneath.
I know.
Almost underhand.
He's amazing.
Amazing how he's able to change that trajectory on the football and drop it underneath the arms of the defenders.
He looked like Kent Tekulve, the former reliever with the Pittsburgh Pirates.
There's a little dose of Patrick Mahomes magic there on a Monday night. A little primetime sidearm throw and a heck of a reference there. That Mahomes magic moment is brought to you by BOK Financial. Whatever you want your company to be, there's BOK Financial. Be ready with BOK Financial, member FDIC. We'll hear from Patrick Mahomes in just a second, but the head coach comes first. We will hear from Chiefs head coach Andy Reid in just about, what would you say, Beard? It's about 30 seconds from now. But first,
Andy Reid is presented by Robert Brogdon Buick GMC and Robert Brogdon Olathe Kia. Visit BrogdonAutomotive.com. And by Andy's Frozen Custard. Let me tell you about my other favorite Andy, Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from KC, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Grab a Pick 6 from one of 9 area locations and tailgate at Andy's. Grab one today.
We'll start from the top here with Andy Reid, and we will get the opening statement from the Chiefs head coach after the Chiefs were victorious over the Giants 20-17.
All right. Really no injuries to mention. I mean, Marcus, he was put in the concussion protocol, but he cleared that right away. So all in all, a good hard-fought win, one that was needed. I was proud of our defense and the way that they played. I was proud of our crowd and for the things, the way they stayed with us through some up and downs on the offensive side. And, they kept with us and kept it nice and loud right at the end. Again, for 55 and 95 to end the game the way they did, I thought was a real positive too. Offensively, we made plays when they were needed down the stretch to get us into field goal position. Ken had a nice day with 94 yards. And then it was good to get our 2 runners going, Gore being the new one, but Darryl did a nice job too. So, and that means the offensive line was also doing a nice job with the run game. So, again, I look at it, I think Joe's doing a heck of a job with that team. They're coming off a huge win against Carolina where they really got after them, and we knew it was going to be a battle. They had some momentum there, and I was proud of our guys coming out and hanging with each other and working through this along with the coaches. Like I said, Spags had a nice game plan. EB had a nice game plan. The guys stuck with it, and it worked out well. Likewise with Dave on special teams.
I do think it's fair to look at that and say, hey, first of all, no injuries, obviously good. Marcus Kemp, concussion protocol, came back in the game, though. I think it's fair to say there were good game plans and the best we've seen from this defense for a while. Obviously, I've spent a lot of this show talking about how we don't necessarily feel great about how this game went. But even if you are very glad, very happy with the effort, the results, whatever, you're going to have to see it again against a higher caliber of team than the Giants. I'll be slightly less kind to Joe Judge than Andy Reid was there. Makes sense that he would be. I don't have to be. I thought Joe Judge might have cost the Giants that game tonight. If they go for it on their 4th and short situations, are able to convert 2 out of those 3, game looks different. Shout out to Joe Judge. Here's Andy Reid on Chris Jones. He mentions 95 and 55 closing out the game that they did. Here's Andy Reid on playing Chris Jones more in the interior.
Yeah, we've been doing that. We had more snaps. He had more snaps in there on this, and some of it was just him feeling better and getting, the situation that was going on with the pass game part of it. So, not because of the other, but he's so effective in there.
Jones said this, we brought this to you live earlier, to say that he basically just plays outside on running situations and inside on passing downs. I don't know that I see the benefit of him being outside on running downs all that often, unless it's just to get some more beef on the inside for more likely running situations. I'd just like to see them err on the side of having Chris Jones in the interior because that's where he's most dominant. But I think that it seems like it's working a little better now, which makes sense because it seems like Chris Jones is a lot healthier now. A lot of penalties in this game for both teams. Here's what Andy Reid had to say about all of those yellow hankies.
Yeah, so we've got to be more disciplined with that, and I'll go back and look at them. I didn't have a chance to look at all of them, obviously, during the game, but I'll go back and look at them. But you got to be able to move your feet and stay in fundamental position on guys, whether it's offense or defense, and then you can limit those penalties. So anyway, we'll go back and look at all those and try to fix that problem.
It does sort of just seem like the Chiefs always have some penalty issues. NFL teams very rarely pitch a perfect game penalty-wise. I don't know if it's a plague or if it's just a little bit of a bummer. If some of them are obviously in big situations. I don't think you can worry about eliminating penalties. You just have to not have them in crushing situations. Tonight, the Chiefs had a little bit of both. But Patrick Mahomes did look very, very good right out of the gate. The offense looked solid. Obviously, there was the early interception. And Reid was asked about Mahomes looking effective on that first drive and then struggling a little bit afterwards and what all he attributes that to.
Yeah, they did a nice job on some things. And I'm going to go back and kind of look at whether I was putting him in a good position or not to make plays. And then we'll see. I thought he did a nice job of hanging with it and ended up making some big plays for us, so with his feet and with his arm.
I'm watching the replay of that pick right now, and Byron Pringle was also there. I think Gordon was probably the target. The ball hit McKinnon in the face, and Byron Pringle was also there. If you put a gun to my head right now and said, who is Patrick Mahomes targeting on that play, you'd have 3 decent guesses. I'd probably guess it was Gordon just based off where the defender was at there. But if that was true, it wasn't a great throw. Wild. Just some weird stuff's been happening around here, including that trick play in the red zone where Travis Kelsey was at quarterback and ultimately just amounted to Patrick Mahomes rolling right and then throwing the ball away. But here's Andy Reid on that red zone trick play.
Yeah, well, you know what? Pat saw the same thing I saw, obviously. From the sideline, they had 3 over 2 there. They had been a complete man team inside the red zone there, and they switched. So sometimes they get you. You hate wasting a good one like that, though. So
that's pretty interesting. They've always run man in the red zone. They ran a little zone down there tonight. And you hate wasting a good, because it was a good one. You hate wasting a good one, Andy Reid says. So people were mad about it just because it didn't work. There's a difference between a trick play that ends in like Travis Kelsey throwing the ball to Patrick Mahomes and Patrick Mahomes trying to throw the football to one of his actual pass catchers. The way that play went did not bother me at all because it was just window dressing to then have Patrick Mahomes throw the ball on the move. He's really good at doing that. Doesn't hurt my feelings when the Chiefs do that. Just didn't work there. Would like to see them do something off of that again. Maybe the next time Kelsey lines up back there, he's going to take the snap and just run a quarterback draw. Maybe they'll let him throw it. I don't know. But the way that it went tonight didn't bother me. There you have from Reid, though, why it didn't work. What did the Giants do so effectively to limit Travis Kelsey? One of his quietest games probably ever as a Chief. Not terribly productive, and his biggest play was the fumble that he had. So what did the Giants do to limit Travis Kelsey?
Yeah, they played man on him, and then they doubled him from there, and with a man over the top, kind of a halo type technique. So he eventually worked it out. We called about different release we could give him, and he worked through it and had a couple big plays right there, down the stretch. So, but they're making an effort to play him a little different than the other guys.
Which makes sense because he's a little bit different than the other guys. Do you think that's interesting though? And just another element of like, hey, if a team's going to devote that many resources to stopping Travis Kelsey, what can you do to punish them for that? That's got to be one of the questions the Chiefs continue to ask themselves going forward. They run the ball pretty well, though. One of the ways you can punish defenses for pushing you back a little bit and pushing their safeties back a little bit. Here's Andy Reid on the Chiefs' running game in this game.
Yeah, no, I thought they did a nice job. I know what Darryl can do, and he did it. We saw what Gore did during the preseason. He's been working his tail off during practice. We've been rotating him in, and we thought it was important to get him in the game and let him do his thing. He's got a knack for it. He's a strong runner, good little center of gravity.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice performance from both of those guys. A nice performance from the offensive line. Also, he put all of those guys in a good position to succeed, running things that made sense for those backs. Should be the same whenever Clyde Edwards-Helaire comes back. I don't think there's a tremendous jump off in one direction or another, positively or negatively or trait-wise or whatever. I think all three of those guys can do similar jobs. Jerick McKinnon might be at this point. Is he the least impactful of that running back room right now? I don't know. Good work for Derrick Gore, though, today. Hope he sticks around. Here's Andy Reid, a little bit of a longer answer, it looks like. about the team's confidence right now as they head into a tough scheduling stretch as they look ahead to these next 3 weeks?
Yeah, so listen, I mean, everything's not beautiful right now, but we're fighting through that. That happens in this game. There's great competition in this league, which I think you saw those games yesterday, and teams that were supposed to win by X number of points get beaten. There's so much parity in this league, so you got to fight. That's the part I'm taking out of this game. Our guys battled. They didn't give up on each other. They kept working through what could have been a time when you just throw your hands up and go, oh my God, I mean, things aren't working the way they're supposed to work. Guys didn't do that. So we'll build on that. I mean, let's keep going. I mean, they don't give these things away, and I think that's important for everybody to understand that, that other team is, they're coming after you, and you're going to get their best shot, and I thought they did a heck of a job with it. So,
Coach, along the lines of what you were talking about a little bit earlier with Sam's question, we're way up top. We can't get a feel for what it feels like down on the sideline. You were satisfied with energy, body language, those things tonight, even throughout the game with the ups and downs? You see what you want there?
Yeah, no, I'm not going to tell you. So guys were disappointed if they didn't make a play, but they hung together with it. I mean, that's part of it. I mean, guys want to make plays, and if it doesn't work out, then they're going to. But they fired it up and went back in and did their thing, and I thought it was good energy on there. You didn't hear anybody complaining. They were just trying to let's go. I mean, let's do it again. So.
Last one. Andy, you mentioned building on that. It seemed like last year you guys won close games, and from week to week that kind of quality carried over.
Sure.
Are you seeing things that maybe when something doesn't go right, it's hard for that not to carry over?
I haven't necessarily seen that now. The guys have been working hard and doing their thing, so it's just we're new. We're a new group, and it's a new team, and every year is different, and things aren't as smooth right now as maybe it was then, but we'll get it there. We just got to keep working and making sure we evaluate and work, and so that's what we do.
There's Andy Reid on all of that. I think that's all pretty interesting stuff, and I don't know. They're not nearly as new as a lot of other teams that have new coaches or new quarterbacks or whatever, but it is still a different team than in years past, and I don't know. Part of me can't help but be optimistic that Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid are going to make an offense work. They're also not perfect. Probably not a Super Bowl winning team this year. I do hope that this is a crazy place to be, but I hope they make the playoffs to give it, it just would feel like some of those years where Aaron Rodgers and the Packers just were not that good, but they had Aaron Rodgers, so it was frustrating just as a football fan. Anyway, last thing here from Andy Reid. We just talked about Josh Gordon with Matt Derrick. Here's Andy Reid on Josh Gordon and how far away he is from making an impact right now.
He's so close. I mean, I know I've said that the last couple of weeks, but he's in on plays, and some of the ones of which he's primary on, they're just, they obviously know where he's at, and I thought he did a nice job blocking for us when he was given an opportunity in there to do that. His routes were good. It just, they were on top of him. So that's he'll keep pushing though. He's really, he's really a pleasure to be around. I mean, he works his tail off, and the thing will pop here as he keeps going.
Andy Reid sounds frustrated. Not mad, just he really wishes that Josh Gordon would have had the game he thought he would have by now.
He's so close. I mean,
you hear that, right? That's not him going, God, I'm really sick of being asked this question. He's close. All right, next thing. Again, a little part of me thinks, all right, maybe the Josh Gordon game is coming. Maybe it's almost here. I'm in more of a wait and see mode than I've been in a very long time with the Chiefs. Many times over the last couple of years, 3 years, I have tried to tell you what I thought was coming and have generally been pretty good about it because I've typically said the Chiefs are good. They're going to be good. They're going to win football games. Patrick Mahomes is good. I've been right. And right now, I'm just kind of waiting to see the things that have not fully landed yet because I have a little bit of doubt. just a little bit. This is the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. It's brought to you by CBD American Shaman. Free CBD samples every day. Let's move on to the quarterback, as I were just talking about. We have a way of making time to talk about Patrick Mahomes. We'll hear from him in just a second, but first.
Patrick Mahomes' press conference is brought to you by your Kansas City Acura dealers. They are partnering with Patrick Mahomes in support of his 15 in the Mahomes Foundation. Test drive to make a difference and enter to win a Mahomes jersey. By Xfinity Internet. Stay connected with Wi-Fi coverage that delivers the speed, reliability, and coverage you need. Can your internet do that? And by Westlake Ace Hardware, your home convenience store. Ready with the best brands and the right advice you need to get your quick fixes done even quicker. Stop into your nearest neighborhood Westlake Ace Hardware today.
Let's get it moving with Patrick Mahomes. First off, here's where he thinks the offense is right now altogether at this point in the season.
I mean, I think we're the same as we've always been. We just we've caught some defenses that are playing over the top of us, and we turn the ball over. And I mean, we're still moving the ball and doing a lot of things great. But whenever you turn the ball over, get a penalty, and get pushed back, that kind of ruins drives. But I think we've done a lot of great things. But it comes down to execution in this league. And if you don't execute, if teams are going to make you drive the entire field, you have to show that you can do that and score touchdowns.
Let's keep it moving. You know what? It's late, and we got stuff to get to still. You know what? Let me tell you. We got a special presser to add to our usual opposing coach. We'll hear from Joe Judge in a little bit. We'll also hear from our very own Tim Grunhard, who was officially inducted into the Chiefs Ring of Honor and Hall of Fame today. We will bring you that to close out our show tonight. But I want to keep it moving. If Mahomes says something that really catches my ear, we'll talk about it. But I'm more or less going to try to keep the pace up as we want to get to both of those remaining interviews as well. Here's Patrick Mahomes about the attention that Travis Kelsey is getting. You just heard Andy Reid talk about it. Here's what the quarterback thinks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to keep going to them. I mean, they obviously they're kind of like, not like double teaming them every single time, but they're putting a guy on them and they have someone over the top. Similar with Tyreek as well. So those guys have to continue to battle. I mean, that's stuff that they're going to have to continue to battle all season long. I'm sure they'll get it every single game pretty much. And they're battling. And like you said, at the end of the game, he made a couple good plays that kind of got us down there to win the game.
It's going to be what they have to deal with. Again, you need someone else, ideally, to punish teams for playing them that way. And I don't know if that guy's on this roster right now. Maybe it's the running backs. Maybe it's Hardman and using the screens and the little pop passes and all of that more. But that'll be an interesting thing to keep an eye on going forward. Derrick Gore came out of the backfield, made his Chiefs debut as a runner tonight. He was active last week, but got his first active carries this evening. And he was asked about the performance from the young back.
Yeah, I mean, he ran well. He's been doing it since training camp, and he finally got his opportunity, and he went out there and executed and played well for us. And so I think that whole running back room has stepped up in different roles this entire season. And as the season goes, with the offensive line continue to getting better and better at run blocking and doing that type of stuff, I think that'll be a big part of our offense.
Yeah, that group has been good in some imperfect circumstances. Also, most importantly, for the running game, the offensive line has been good and has given these guys something to work with, which is all good. What about that opening drive again? Mahomes talked about it a little bit and what was working whenever the offense came out of the gate pretty hot.
Yeah, I mean, it's execution. I mean, I know I say it all the time, but we have guys open, and if we're on the same page, and me and the receivers with the routes, and then I throw it and hit the right spot, we can move the ball on pretty much any coverage. We have answers for versus everything, but that you've seen in every game pretty much that there's been times where we kind of stall out and we don't execute, or I throw the ball or I don't hit the right spot, or the receiver doesn't see it the same way that I do, or penalties or turnovers. So, I mean, I know in this league it's kind of showing that it's kind of happened week after week these last few weeks, but I think we're going to snap out of it and we'll find a way to start executing, and then when we do, we'll be a tough offense to stop.
I think we're going to snap out of it is kind of interesting. I mean, I don't know that it means anything inherently, but kind of interesting to hear Mahomes talk about that. And it was definitely, I think, their best out of the gate start for a while. I don't know if there's one that I'm missing in recent memory, but it was nice to just see them be really effective. Obviously, the turnovers were still an issue over the course of the game, but it, could have been worse. Mahomes talked a little bit here as well about the conversations on the sidelines before they took the field for what was ultimately the game-winning drive and what they figured out to be able to move the ball down the field to score there at the end.
I think guys just made plays. I mean, the play that Travis made where he kind of chip blocked and got out there. And at that time, I was trying to just get it to the third and manageable and give it to him. And then, I mean, he got the face mask, but he fought through like 3 or 4 dudes to get to the first down marker. I mean, guys made plays. We ran the ball when we needed to run the ball. McCole had a big play on a jet sweep. So, I mean, it's stuff that we had done the entire game. We just executed, got the ball down there. Obviously, we would have liked to score a touchdown, but giving Butker a chance to kick a field goal and defense stepped up and made a big stop.
Talking about execution, he admitted in that answer previously, like that he's a broken record on that front. But because the frustrating thing is that sometimes it's very amorphous. It doesn't really mean anything. Hey, we got to be better at executing. Okay, how? What does that mean? And I don't always know how you can improve on that. I'm not sure if they do either, because if you could do it easily, you would. But it is nice to see that things do work whenever it's, working, to be redundant. Mahomes was asked here about when they get a few chances to hit on those big plays down the field. They had a couple of those opportunities. He took a couple of those shots. But what happens whenever you have those out there and then fail to capitalize on them?
Yeah, I mean, I got to hit Tyreek. I got to throw it more across the field, and that one to Tyreek. I kind of told him before the play, I was like, if they push over there, I'm going to give you a chance. And when I was rolling to the left, I just let it kind of, a lot of right-handed quarterbacks, I let it kind of tail back towards the DB. But if I put it more across the field, I hit him on that deep shot. But like you said, I mean, there's a few of them a game. So whenever you only have a few deep shots a game, you got to make sure you execute and hit them. And in the past, I've been able to kind of, I missed it, come back and hit another play. But obviously, defenses have safeties at 25 yards deep. So we're going to have to, whenever we do get those opportunities, we got to make sure we execute on them.
Patrick, you said this the other day about it's always kind of a battle for you to find that ground between trying to make something go and letting it happen. Did you feel any moments today where you were having a breakthrough with that?
Yeah, I thought I did a good job of it today. I mean, obviously I want to score more points. I want to have more touchdowns and put more points on the board. But seeing how the defense was playing and how they were kind of holding strong and doing things, I try to just get the ball in my hand in certain situations, get it to the running back in space, get to these guys in the flats, and let them get upfield and get vertical. And you kind of get to the game where you get the ball, the chance to win the game. I have confidence in our offense that we're going to go down there and get a score, and that's what we were able to do.
Those need to continue to be a part of the offense. They just have to be able to actually convert them more often. And again, you heard Mahomes mention in there, sometimes they give up just a tiny bit of something that we're like 99% sure on, but it's kind of interesting to hear them talk about. Like you heard him go, they got safeties 25 yards downfield. It's tough. It makes things more difficult. It's something they've been facing for a while now that they need to come up with a solution for. And one that can also, get them back to their prime form. The penalties have been an issue. We've heard about that from all angles. Here's Mahomes and how they can clean those up.
Yeah, I mean, all you can do is focus on the Packers now. I mean, obviously, we know this entire season we play a lot of good football teams coming up. So you focus on the Packers. That's a great football team. I think they're first seed in the NFC. So, I mean, they're going to be a great challenge for you. And so you go back to your execution. You go back to practice, executing, not getting those penalties. If you see the guy making a decision where he's holding a little too long, or if something little like that is happening, you kind of correct that right then and right there, so that whenever you get in the game, you don't have those things happen. I mean, the best part about it to me, I mean, obviously you don't want to have the penalties, is guys were playing hard. I mean, the penalties that we had, guys were trying to block, and they might have blocked for just a tick too long, and they got a holding call when the guy kind of pulled back. But guys were playing hard, they're battling, they're trying to find ways to win games, and we were able to find a way today to win it.
Penalties go right with one other thing whenever we talk about the biggest issues for this team and also self-inflicted wounds. It's the turnovers. Here's Mahomes about rallying emotionally after they've had their turnover issues.
Yeah, I mean, but we're going to keep battling. I mean, even the Titans game week before, I mean, we're going to battle to the very end. I promise you that. You're hoping that the turnover luck kind of flips the other way, but that comes with us trying to execute at a higher level. Yeah, we had the ball that bounced up in the air and picked off. Then Travis, who doesn't fumble, he fumbled. So, like I said to Trav and all these guys, I'm gonna keep coming right back to you. I'm gonna throw it to you, let you make a play. I have that trust in you, and I think as the season goes on, hopefully we can correct the turnovers, and I think we can still be a special offense.
I think I agree with that. Like, to say that, no, this team cannot be a special offense ever again, I think would be silly. Also, would be silly to say they don't have significant problems right now with things like the turnovers. Will that turn around? Let's find out next week. Last thing from Patrick Mahomes here. This is Mahomes on how they guard against others' expectations and how they don't let all of that end up being a distraction, especially in a tough stretch like this one.
Yeah, I think I took me personally, I took a kind of a big picture look at it this last week after playing the Titans, and obviously we didn't start the way we wanted to, and I kind of felt like I was trying to make stuff happen that wasn't there. And I think in the game like today, I did a better job of, obviously they're taking away the big shots. I wanted to throw the big shot, especially when we started stalling out some of those drives, but I kind of just kept with the process, kept with the game flow, and trusted in our defense, and they made a lot of stops. We got enough points on the board, and they were able to shut it down at the end of the game.
That'll do it for Patrick Mahomes here on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. Kind of interesting to say, hey, he took a big picture look at everything, and saw he was trying to make too much happen or whatever. Again, just an interesting thing to have to take some inventory of. It'll be interesting to see where all that ends up going from here as well. We will take a break here in just 1 second, and then we'll come back with Giants head coach Joe Judge, and we'll end out the show on a high note, hearing from our own Tim Grunhard as he spoke to the media out at Arrowhead as he was being finally inducted into the Chiefs Ring of Honor and Hall of Fame. We'll talk about that whenever we come back here on Sports Radio 810. The show is brought to you by Missouri Lottery. Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. More play and more power with Powerball with double play. For an extra $1, players have the chance to win up to $10 million in a separate drawing. Missouri Lottery, play responsibly. Coming up next, Joe Judge, Tim Grunhard, next here on Sports Radio 810.
You're listening to exclusive post-game coverage on Kansas City's home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810 WHB, presented by the Missouri Lottery and CBD American Shaman.
A KC tradition since 1957 and voted the best steak in Kansas City, Hereford House is a locally owned steakhouse that has served generations of Kansas Cityans. Hereford House exclusively serves certified Hereford beef. All their steaks are aged 21 days, hand-cut daily, and grilled over an open charcoal flame. Go to HerefordHouse.com for hours, new menu items, and to make your reservations. Follow Hereford House on Facebook and Instagram for exclusive specials. Hereford House, voted Kansas City's favorite steakhouse.
Every weekday on Sports Radio 810, tune in to hear Kansas City's favorite local lineup. At 6 a.m., wake up with the Border Patrol with Stephen St. John and Nate Bucati. At 10, it's The Zone with Jason Anderson. Now at 2, get into the program with Soren Petro. And wrap up your day on Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco. Kansas City's hometown sports station. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
When do you think about your insurance? Chances are it's when you're paying your bill or filing a claim. At Briar Payne Mead, we always think about your insurance. It's what we do. Buying a car, having a baby, building a home, starting a business. Then it's time to call BPM at 913-681-099 or visit us on the web at bpminsurance.com. Great service and extremely competitive rates from the top-rated companies. Briar Payne Mead, 913-681-099. That's 913-681-099.
Listen up, sporting fans. Central Bank of the Midwest invites you to score a better banking experience with our new sporting checking account. Now you can show off your team spirit at the match or on the go with the official sporting debit card. Plus, you'll gain access to Central Bank's award-winning mobile app with more than 30,000 reviews and a 4.9-star rating. So, score big today by opening your sporting checking account at any of our convenient Central Bank locations or by visiting sportingchecking.com. Member FDIC.
Looking for a job or career change? Let Sports Radio 810 help you out with the 810 Job Connections program. Go to the community page at 810WHB.com and check out the list of partners that are hiring. Is your business wanting to hire? Email Sandy Cohen at scohen@unionbroadcasting.com to see how you can be a part of the 810 Job Connections program. See job opportunities from businesses like Domino's Pizza, Consolidated Communications, Ruan, Blue Highway Restaurant, and more. Go to 810WHB.com/community.
Everyone knows Family Leisure is having the world's biggest spa sale. Did you know it's also time to save hundreds, even thousands on patio furniture, pool tables, shuffleboard, and more? You can beef up your entertainment area with couches, sectionals, and theater seating now on sale at Family Leisure. Make it a September to remember with special 810 listener pricing at Family Leisure. Spas, basketball
Sports
goals,
Talk
play sets,
powered by
everything for family and fun
Sports
together
Radio
on sale
810
at Family
WHB
Leisure.
Kansas City. The power of sports.
7727.
WHB Kansas City.
Second down 7, Giant 28, shotgun snap. Here comes the pressure. Down he goes. Sacked at the 19. Chris Jones got him. Chris Jones with the sack. Third of the year, first of the game. Losing 8, 3rd and 15. Clock is rolling at 45 and no timeouts to stop it.
Nice to see Chris Jones back in the backfield on a regular basis. Nice to be here talking to you in the wee hours of Tuesday morning here on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. It's brought to you by the Missouri Lottery. Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. More play, more power. Powerball now on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Also brought to you by CBD American Shaman. Free CBD samples every day. Last two chunks of audio to bring to you here are going to be from Joe Judge, the Giants head coach, who may have cost them the game today because he was terrified of running his offense on 4th down. Settled for a field goal, settled for a couple of punts, and ended up putting up 17 points on the day. So thank you, Joe Judge, for making it a little easier on the Chiefs. Could have been a less fun post-game show if you would have been more aggressive, but you weren't. We appreciate it. We'll start with him, and then we'll get to Tim Grunhard, someone who's always aggressive. I don't know if that's really true, but it seemed funny to me. Inducted into the Chiefs Hall of Fame today, and I got to speak to the media some as well. But you can eat your vegetables first. We'll start with Giants head coach Joe Judge. Before that, though, I'll let you know that our opposing coach press conference is brought to you by Metcalf CarStar. If your vehicle gets sacked on the road, take it to Metcalf CarStar, the collision repair experts. They make it convenient and easy to get back on the road. Go to carstar.com and search for Metcalf CarStar. CarStar, relax. They'll take it from here. Joe Judge will take it from here.
All right, guys, appreciate your patience. Look, first off, give credit to that team. It's a good team. It's coached very well. They obviously played well in the situations down the stretch. In terms of our own team, I'm proud of a lot of things we put on the field today. There's a lot of ways we want to play the game that showed up on the field today, ways we practiced that were carried over. Ultimately, it wasn't enough. We've got to eliminate the mistakes that we make down the stretch. We can't allow a team like this to have extra opportunities. We can't rob opportunities from ourselves with breakdowns and focus. So we got to make sure we do a better job of that. In terms of the players themselves, we'll get them in. We'll clean up mistakes. We'll do what we did well. We'll move on to the Raiders. All right, as soon as we get that done. That being said, I'll open up any questions. Thanks, Mike.
Joe, you alluded to it there. I know one play doesn't determine the game, but for O'Shane to jump off in that spot and you get the interception, how frustrating is it to have kind of a mental lapse in that?
We just can't have penalties like that, point blank, or any penalties we have. And that comes down to, how we execute on the field and make sure we coach it better. That doesn't happen again. So we got to do a better job all the way around. But, there were some situations that came up throughout the game that we got to make sure we eliminate to give ourselves a better chance to have success.
Joe, before Kadarius hurt his thumb, was he on a pitch count early in the game? It didn't seem like he was very involved offensively.
No, I wouldn't call it a pitch count, but we were kind of, structuring based on how we did in practice this week, things we were doing. We built him up as we were going through the game. So, he had the hand issue, and then he was able to come back. So.
Joe, what happened on the timeouts there in the first half?
The headsets are going out. No, we're having headset issues. This happened in every game so far. So we deal with the league, and they keep telling us there's different software updates or whatever it is. But we had to call 2 timeouts today because we're trying to send the deals in personnel-wise, and you got half the headsets aren't getting a reception. So that's the issue right there. So we're trying to make sure we're in the right call. There were some other times we just didn't like the look. Want to make sure we settle down on. But the other ones talking about with the substitution deals right there, yeah, it's breakdowns, and we got to make sure the hardware is working. So whatever the issue with that is, people involved with that better get it fixed fast.
So was that at the end of the last drive, like the last minute and a half of the second quarter, when it seemed like you guys were caught between maybe taking a knee there and also trying to get in field goal range?
Talking about the offensive part right there? Yeah. There were a couple scenarios. That one was more just kind of how things were playing out right there based on situation, losing yards. But there were 2 times today where the headsets were, an issue that we got to make sure that, we'll start doing hand signals, where we got to do if we have to. We can't rely on the equipment, then we'll figure something else out. But, we tried to actually at one point go back to the old equipment. They told us we weren't allowed to do it for whatever reason. But we didn't have issues really last year for the most part, so hopefully we figure that out.
Is that a home and away issue, Joe?
I've had it at every single stadium this year, home and away, I've had issues personally.
Is that your staff? Or is it?
Look, I don't know. Look, I don't want to make this all about headsets. We have things. I'd say this: whoever's in charge of it, whoever the guys. Look, Jordan, I don't have the exact answer. I don't know if that comes more through the league or us exactly, but they better fix it fast. That's it. Look, I'll get you all the details and stuff later on who does all that stuff. We get the communication back. We say, hey, listen, these things have been an issue, and then we get told they've adjusted this, they've done this, whatever it is. Like I said, we try to adjust and use different hardware It hasn't been allowed, so we'll keep on moving on. Again, look, I don't want to make this about the stupid headsets. That's not what this is about. I mean, that wasn't the factor in the game. We got to do other things on our own to make sure we have success.
Joe, what accounts for you guys being so disciplined for doing in that quarters, and then in that final half of the fourth quarter, the taunting, the illegal touch, the offsides, where do all those mistakes come from all in a wave like that?
Pat, I don't have a blanket answer for that right there. I'm going to look at each one individually and make sure that we just go ahead and we have all the techniques correctly and that guys are making the right decisions at that moment in time. Obviously, we can't have those things come up.
Pat, Joe, the Chiefs were obviously struggling on defense coming into this game. You guys held them 20 points, but you couldn't win. How frustrating was it that your offense could not produce more points to get this game in your favor?
There was a lot of things the offense did positively tonight. Strung some drives together. We knew the kind of game plan we wanted to play. We wanted to play on our terms tonight. For a large part, we did. For a large part, we played the kind of game that we came in and said, this is how we have to play tonight, offensively, defensively, and the kicking game. We knew what kind of game it was going to be. They're a very talented team, very well coached. We anticipated a lot of the answers they were going to have, and we had our kind of change-ups ready as well for what they were going to. So there was a lot of situational ball going back and forth, a lot of good coaching adjustments, a lot of good execution adjustments on the field. So in terms of how all three phases played, I'll wait till I kind of see the tape with specific adjustments and changes. Like I said, there was a lot positive tonight. Obviously, it wasn't good enough in the long run.
So I could go back to the timeout questions on heads earlier. Why not use your last timeout when there was like 2:35 left?
Yeah, once you get under 2:46, you really don't want to use that last timeout because the way it plays out. So, I started calling them earlier, obviously, and then we weren't able to stop them once they got in the field goal range. So I held the last one for the later situation. In terms of how we managed the time right there, getting the ball back with a little bit over a minute, no timeouts, that's about what you're looking at right there. You can use before or after. There's kind of different ways of using it. We calculate about what the team time's going to be, but there's kind of certain periods within the game when you're in that kind of 4-minute mode. They're trying to run the clock down. You're trying to stop and get back for a 2-minute drive right there that you want to be safe about when you do and don't call it. And a lot of it ties into if you use that last timeout, can you force them into snapping it a second time after that before the 2-minute warning?
Just a follow-up, Joe. Was the timeout before that, was that a headset issue? Or
No, that one was not. That was stop the clock right
Joe,
there.
big picture, why do you think your team struggles to finish wins late? Is it youth? Is it growing pains? How much of it is part of the growing process? Why is that happening?
Yeah, I'm more focused on, playing all 60 minutes of football and execute every play throughout it and not worry about, hey, this one little label right here. We got to do a lot of things along the way, put us in a better situation down that stretch right there. So we got to make sure we play, we finish games better by playing the first 59 minutes, 59 seconds the right way.
Joe, you've been in a situation this season where, you play to your special teams and for whatever reason, whether it's a bad punt or poor execution or a penalty, it's really let you guys down. For someone who takes as much pride as you do in special teams, how frustrating is it that you guys haven't been able to correct?
We've also played our special teams a number of times, Art, where it's really benefited the team in terms of complementary football as well. So you've got to go out there and you have to execute. Each situation's, unique. It's different. You got to make sure that you have the right focus, the right technique, the right execution, every single one of them. So we're going to play to our defense at times, our special teams at times, our offense at times. I'm not going to hesitate to do that. Like everybody here gets paid, right? Every coach gets paid, every player gets paid. We're here, everyone's got to do their job. So when you're called, you've got to answer that call right there. So our special teams played very well this year for the most part. They've done a great job. One of our focuses in this game was eliminate their return game. They came out with 0 yards in return game. This is an explosive return team. Some of their best offensive plays are their punt returns and kickoff returns. Our goal today was, whether it was through, good situational punts and plus 50, or to be honest with you, ugly punts. There's a large element of you go into the game sometimes and you got to tell a guy like Riley of, hey, look, we want ugly punts tonight. Get them off their mark. Get them off their rhythm and their timing. Punt returners and kick returners love getting that ball when their feet are set in the ground, right? When they can time it up, they can hit that thing. And just like they practice it, where the blocks get back to a certain spacing, at the right timing, it all feels very natural. The way you can affect that is by having, moving the ball on kickoffs, moving the ball on punts, whatever you can do right there, and getting those specialists off their rhythm. So sometimes we go out there and we tell Riley, hey, look, we're going to win ugly tonight. We understand that sometimes it may not look as good in a stat sheet or in a situation. It may look like it's something not that great. But we're going to have them hit balls sometimes that are a little bit unconventional and get the other team out of rhythm right there and put the pressure on them to execute.
So 2 of the punts for Riley that looked ugly tonight, that was the plan?
I can only really think of one that was probably off schedule in terms of what they really wanted.
The last one that he hit, it looked like you guys were setting up to try to play the deep, and then not only did he hit kind of the knuckler out of bounds, but then that was also a play that you can't have really.
That was more of a situation where we're looking to go ahead and flip the field position and put him pin on back right there. We got to execute that better. We got to coach that better, and we got to execute and play it better.
How bad is Shep's injury?
I don't have a final diagnosis on it right now. looked like he got twisted around by the defender on that penalty. I only saw, a brief replay of it out of the corner of my eye. So I was relying a little on secondhand information. So don't have a final diagnosis on where he's at. Obviously, he wasn't able to come back to the game. We'll see where he's at. Hopefully, it's not too bad.
Sure, I mentioned, but he should play sequence late in the first half there. Your 3rd and 4. Does Shep not run that route deep enough? And then why not go for it there on 4th and 2? Why should Shep decide to kick?
I'll answer the second one right there in terms of the 4th and 2, the one we hit the field goal on right there. Yeah, because I thought points were going to be at a premium. Our defense was playing good right there. You think about, for the most part of the game, it was the short field we gave them. They scored on. They had the one drive they strung together. So I was going to play to our defense a lot tonight. I had a lot of confidence how they're playing as a unit. They were running the ball. Part of our thing was if you can make this team run the ball, take away the explosive plays and the shots over your head, that's really how you got to play this team. You got to be patient with it. You got to be committed to the game plan. You got to tackle them. We got to do a better job of some of those runs to make sure we don't let them have, more leaky runs right there. But overall, I was going to play to our defense tonight. And that was a situation right there. You got to keep accumulating points on a team like this. And you come in, and obviously it's a very well-coached team, very explosive team, but you can come in sometimes, shoot yourself in the foot by saying we got to score every point every time you get available, right? And you can go ahead and fall back on those analytic sheets we've talked about in the past where, okay, this is a situation because Vegas says it's the point spread, you've got to go for it, right? Well, ultimately, I would say that's not really what the factor in the game was. I think the factor is more situational executions and things we got to clean up as a team. So in terms of how we played it, to the kicking game, to the defense, and offense, manufacture some drives down it right there, for a large part, it was how we wanted to play this game. So in terms of kind of getting that point where it's 4th and 2, I talk through every situation in terms of, at the beginning of the drive. Okay, when am I thinking about going for right here? Every time we get a new set of sticks and I first down, I'm always thinking, okay, what does it have to be for me to want to go for right here? And I factor in everything right there. How's our defense playing? How's their offense playing? How are their top players executing right there? How can I go ahead and put the ball more in their court that they got to go ahead and beat us, as opposed to us giving them a short field and offense like this? It's great when you go for it, right? And obviously we didn't get one short yardage right there, another part in the game. So you get to that point and it's like, hey, look, we're going to play to our defense. Let's make them go on a longer field. I got a lot of confidence where our defense is playing right now. Those guys are doing a good job. Pat's calling a really good game right now. So we got to make sure we give our team an opportunity to have success. And sometimes that falls into the, some people say it's aggressive to go for it. Again, I've said this before, sometimes it's aggressive as well to say, well, we're going to punt and play aggressive with our defense. We're going to stop you, get the ball back, and then go ahead and finish on better field position of the offense. So.
Joe, does this loss change anything before tomorrow's trade deadline?
No.
Great, thanks.
Do you expect to be active?
I'm so focused on the game right now, Jordan. We'll kind of, see if any phone calls came, anything like that right now. I'm just worried about getting these guys back tonight and get them back going with the Raiders. Okay? All right, appreciate it, guys.
I know I'm piling on, but that's just a wildly insufficient answer from Joe Judge. He talked for a long time. I mean, insufficient might be an unfair word even. That is a very lame answer from Joe Judge about some of the 4th down aggressiveness stuff. To say, well, we kicked the field goal down there because points were at a premium. Yeah, Joe, they were, which is why if you have a chance to get 7 of them, you should. 3 points at a premium, you put up 17 points. Maybe we trust our defense. Do you want to trust your defense to hold the Chiefs' offense to less than 17? And look, I mean, not that they've been great lately or anything, but they still have Patrick Mahomes playing quarterback. Probably going to get to 20, barely, but they did. Beyond that, also, you talk about flipping field position and trusting your defense on some of the stuff more towards the middle of the field, the other 2 4th downs there that they should have, statistically speaking, gone for. If you trust your defense so damn much, trust them and say, hey, you know what? We're either going to get the first down, we're going to keep the ball moving, we're going to go score, or we're going to give the Chiefs the ball around midfield, and I'm going to trust our defense to make them punt it back to us. Or force a turnover on downs if they're aggressive. The whole thing about points at a premium, chasing points, trust the defense, they all are these wobbly cliches that don't hold water with, like, any critical eye. We trust our defense. Yeah, okay, trust them differently. You can trust the math and also still trust your defense. You can believe that the points are at a premium and still go for it in obvious go for it 4th down situations. It's just really frustrating. And I actively don't give a bleep about the Giants. I just hate that there's still so much of that mindset in the sport that some of the easy stuff, some coaches are still flunking. It's frustrating. I'm glad we didn't end on that. I'm glad that we have one more thing to play because Joe Judge was putting me in a bad mood, and he has been for a while, and he did it again tonight. in a losing effort. I'm glad the Chiefs won. Joe Judge still makes me mad. That's how serious this is. But we will end on a much happier note here. Tim Grunhard, friend of and a member of this team here on Sports Radio 810. He's a member of this team and, of course, a now Chiefs Hall of Fame member of the Kansas City Chiefs, a Ring of Honor member for the Kansas City Chiefs. He spoke to the media this evening as he was inducted officially today. Here's Grunny.
Thanks for taking some time, guys, and talking to the old, beat-up old center. So
I was looking through the binoculars. I didn't see any tears on the field. But you got
it was
a little
close.
choked up earlier, though, right?
I did get choked up during the acceptance speech. Talking about my wife, we met when we were in college freshman year, and I told her, after every game at Notre Dame and after pretty much every game here, I'd look up and look for her, and good or bad or indifferent games. So yeah, it was great. And the Hunt family, Clark, it's just been, they drafted me here 31 years ago, and been part of this family, and that's what it is. It's a family. So with the Hunt family and the Kansas City Chiefs fans and the players and my family, it's just been overwhelming. It's been just an unbelievable honor, and very humbled to even be here and be talking to you guys. This is great.
Cam, it's one thing to play here, but it's another to live here and live here, even after your playing days. What is it, or what was it about Kansas City that made you want to settle down here and make this your home?
Well, gosh, yeah, so 31 years ago, I was drafted on April 22nd, about 3:30 is when we figured it out. And I played for the Kansas City Chiefs for 3,650 days, 169 games. And when that was over, we established our life here. My wife is from New Jersey, I'm from Chicago, and we made so many great friends. And one of the things that I tried to do is try to become part of the community when I was playing, through radio shows and other charitable things. And when it was all said and done, it's like, where else do we want to go? We'd love to raise our kids here. And it's just been, and I know that you guys have heard this before, and I'm not just trying to patronize anybody. My kids have had such a wonderful life here in Kansas City. And my wife and I have had such a wonderful life here in Kansas City, that we're just so blessed that, the 49ers were going to draft me. They called the day of the draft, and they said they were going to take me in the first round, which I was floored. I had no idea. I was supposed to be in the 5th or 6th round. And they took Dexter Carter, thank God. And then in the 40th pick, the Hunt family and Carl Peterson and Marty Schottenheimer decided to bring me here to Kansas City, and my life has been changed ever since then, and it's been an awesome ride. It's been a roller coaster up and down, just like anything else, but Kansas City's always been there for me.
Tim, when you have seen through the years all the other guys standing out there at halftime, did you ever envision yourself in that place?
I was telling it, 31 years ago when I came here for the Red Coater luncheon, wearing some really corny white jacket of some sort that I think it was my dad's jacket. I didn't even have a sport jacket, I don't think. So, McCall Peterson walked me around and said, hey, these are the greats that played here. And, your goal should be to try to be up there. So, that was my goal. And, you never know if you're going to make it, and you got to be lucky. You don't have injuries, and obviously you have to play a lot and win. And, so I played 11 years, and after 5 or 6 years, I thought, maybe it's my turn to go in, and it's just, the next guy would pop up, the next guy would pop up, and 21 years later, here I am. So, but, I tell people all the time, it was perfect timing for me because my kids have all been active in sports, and they've had ups and downs in sports, and they realize how hard it is to accomplish what I was able to accomplish. And they realize the dedication it takes to play sports. And they appreciate it. They wouldn't appreciate it. When they were 10, 12, 14 years old, they wouldn't have cared. I mean, they would have cared, but they would have, it would have just been another thing. But, looking at Colin, who, is playing at KU now and has an injury, and he's out for the season because of it. And Kaylee and Cassie, who both swam Division I, which is the hardest thing to do. And CJ, who played high school athletics. And so, they appreciate the effort it took. And to me, that's the most special thing, to have my kids walk on the field with me. They're my treasures, they're my life, and it was just awesome to have them down there, and they understood what the sacrifice and how hard it was to get there.
Tim, you coach young men as well. You mentioned your kids.
Yes, sir.
And I would imagine those young men didn't really know what kind of career that you had, but now when they come into the stadium, they see your name up there. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, it's funny you say that because, I'm back coaching at Bishop Miege, and a lot of the guys didn't even know I played for the Chiefs. So when the head coach said, yeah, we're going to practice in the morning today at 6 o'clock in the morning, because a lot of the coaches and some of the players wanted to go, he said, coach is going into the Ring of Fame and the Hall of Fame, and a lot of them like, you played for the Chiefs? So, it's great that, and I said it a little bit earlier, that your name's up there forever. My grandkids someday will be able to walk in and look up at, and Deron Cherry said something really kind of cool to me. He's like, when my kids walk in, the first thing they look for when they walk in the stadium is Deron's name. And I think my kids will be able to do that too. So it's really cool. And they love Kansas City, they live here, so they'll be coming to plenty of games.
I know it was announced 6 months ago, but when did it become real for you? Was it tonight, or was there another checkpoint along the way?
Tonight, when I saw my name up there, it became real. Hearing about it and thinking about it and dreaming about it, it was awesome. But when that name popped up there and it said T. Grunhard, and first of all, I was glad they spelled it correctly, which was nice. It was. That's when it became real, and I'm still kind of in shock. And I know that, I'll be coming to a couple of games here, the Dallas game, and Mike McCarthy's a good friend of mine. Coming to the Green Bay game, and I know that when I walk in there, I'll be like, wow, but yeah, my name is up there. That's kind of cool. So, yeah. So tonight, I'm kind of in shock and in awe, and it's been a whirlwind, but it's real. Tonight is what made it really the real thing.
What's it been like just hearing from a lot of your old teammates, and you mentioned Jerron too, and the other Chiefs greats? What's it been like just hearing from them?
Awesome. Saw Christian Okoye today and talked to Christian quite a bit. And, that's we talk about family. Those guys I played with for 11 years here, they were my family. And, this is like our reunion. You come back and, that family reunion. And, this time it was my turn to be honored. It was my turn to get the attention and the accolades. And then it'll be somebody else's turn next year. But, we're all part of the family. We're all rooting for each other. We're all there for each other. And, they to a man said, listen, enjoy it. It almost feels like your wedding. You're doing so many things and popping around so many different places that you don't stop and kind of just realize how cool it really is. And they kept telling me, hey, just make sure that you're enjoying this every second. And I've been trying to do that.
When you greeted us, you said, beat up old center.
Yeah.
When you wake up each morning, how much are you reminded of 11 years in the trenches?
A lot. You pay the price, but you try to stay in some sort of shape and do all the right things. But listen, you sacrifice a lot to play this sport. This is not an easy sport. It's not a normal sport. You have to, in your mind, do things that your mind is telling you not to do. It's not normal to run full speed and hit somebody, in a collision at 25, 30 miles per hour. Although I never went that fast, but so you have your aches and pains and your bumps and bruises. But like Marty used to say all the time, it's really that 6 inches between your breastbone and your backbone that's important. And my heart is with this game, and my heart has been with the Kansas City Chiefs. So I may be sore on the outside, but I am jumping for joy on the inside.
Now that you're in it, you have your other old teammates that you want to make sure gets in. Who do you want to be next year?
Well, you know what? I would love to get Dave Zada in, but if they go 3 linemen in a row, there might be a revolt. So Brian Waters, Tim Grunhard, and Dave Zada, there might be a revolt. But I would love to see Dave get in. But there's so many guys. It was getting at a point because there's a bunch of really good football players that retired just recently, and Derrick Johnson, these guys. So I was going to fall down the list here pretty quick. So I was glad that I got in this time. I would love to see Dave get in, but there's a lot of people that have just in the last 5 or 6, 7 years, Alex Smith and Trent Green and all those guys, and that will be up, and when their names are up there, they're going to have the same feeling of just awe, humbleness, and just a gratitude to be a part of this Kansas City Chiefs kingdom and family.
That right there is a member of the Sports Radio 810 team and the newest member of the Kansas City Chiefs Hall of Fame and Ring of Honor. It's Tim Grunhard. Thank you for listening to tonight's edition of the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. It's been brought to you by the Missouri Lottery. Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. More play, more power. Powerball now on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Also brought to you by CBD American Shaman. Free CBD samples every day. Thanks to Beards McFly and Rudy Salazar for producing tonight's show. Thank you to Matt Derrick for joining us. Thank you to you for listening, to our callers who chimed in as well. My name is Joshua Brisco. If you missed any of the show, we'll put it all up in podcast form on the Almost Entirely Sports podcast feed as the Chiefs are victorious, back to 500 with a 20-17 Monday night victory over the New York Giants.